The count of 3, we can all together recite the anthem. 1, 2, 3. Alongside Aniette Oki. Okay. Aniette Oki, welcome. Okay. If you all have the program, the next item is the opening prayers, and we have we have adopted the second stanza of the national anthem as the prayer. So just scroll, if you have a program, to the second page, and we all stand up so that we can recite together as our opening prayers. Second page on the program. Creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth to know, in love and honesty to grow, shall we stand. Great lofty heights attained, in you a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you. We can now sit down.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. With us this morning and throughout today. We apologize for the late starting of this program, and we don't intend to make it too laborious because we have a lot to get through today. I'm just going to quickly recognize some of our guests who are here, and as others shall be arriving, we shall be also welcoming them and mentioning their names. We have here in our midst, as I said, we're expecting the chairman who is on his way, but we also recognize the presence of our special guest, all guests, all VIPs, the host of today's event, and also why we are here. I want to start off. WAQSN itself has been in existence for a number of years. We are the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria. If you are female, you are a quantity surveyor, we expect you to be a part of this association. And as you can see, we are many in number. There are still others who are on their way. And we always like to make sure that it is not about competition. We have the Sunny lady. What do we do? WAQSN! WAQSN is stronger. Okay, some of us didn't have our breakfast this morning. WAQSN! WAQSN is stronger. Please clap for yourselves. Of WAQSN. She's a past president of NIQS. None other than our mother, our grandmother, our big mama, our auntie, our sister. Please give her a round of applause. And she's ever present, looking young, no other than QS Mercy Yotia, FNIQS. Please, can you give her a round of applause? Thank you. of WAQSN. In fact, she's our very own Deputy President of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, and that is none other than Mr. Olayemi Shonubi, FNIQS. Please, you can give him a round of applause to acknowledge him. And please, can you work with us as we go through some various names? If I don't call out your name, it's not because I'm ignoring you, but we are working through as a team. Thank you very much. And as you can see, we are receiving further details. I would also like to recognize the past president, who is actually handing over the baton. She has worked arduously. That is QS Ronke Olayemi. Sorry. I'm having a senior moment, so you'll have to forgive me. My mind, can you believe my mind has gone blank? Mrs. QS Ronke Oyelami, FNIQS, please. I know I'm going to be in trouble for that. Give her another round of applause. Don't be sorry for that. We'd also like to recognize one of our very own, because we know that in our profession, it is about teamwork, it is about team building, and it is about working together, overcoming challenges. There are some differences, obviously, in what we do, because we have different disciplines. But at the end of the day, we are all working towards the same goal. And with that in mind, I'd like us to put our hands together and welcome Builder Mrs. Florence Akinyoade, FMNIOB. Here with us. Please continue along the floor. Thank you very much. We also have the past chairperson of Lagos State Chapter. She's here with us. If you can wave, if you've not run to go and catch a plane, and that is QS Adenike Ayonda. Please, can you give her a round of applause, please? We also have, obviously, supporting, because behind every successful woman is a successful man. And we thank God that the beautiful union is here today to support her, and that is none other than our chairperson, incoming chairperson's husband, and that is Alhaji Yahoo Abdullah. Please, who has made waves and strides in the field of quantity surveying, not just here in Nigeria, but also in Africa. She is a past chairperson of WAQSN, and she's here in her own right to support. She's also always been there for us whenever she has been called upon, and she too has left a great legacy on which the past chair people are built on. And that is none other. Please give her a round of applause. Our very own Professor Bahalola. She's the first female to be the first in Africa, the giant of Africa. She herself is the giant. You can see she's a very, very great giant. So please give her another round of applause. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And is the registrar of the Quantity Surveying Registration Board of Nigeria, in person of QS Abdullah Ali, FNIQS. For the opening ceremony, we actually have a high table. So we'll be inviting the representative of the president of NIGERIan, the president of the deputy president, to step onto the high table and take his deserved place on the high table. How to ask for the Deputy President? Can we and surveyors in person of QS Mercy Iote to join him on the high table, please? She deserves a louder round of applause. She is a pioneering, best-setting chairperson of this body. Can we also invite to the high table the immediate past chairperson of WAQSN to also to the high table, please? The immediate chairperson. Okay, the chairman of the occasion, the representative of the chairman of the occasion has just arrived. The chairman of this investiture ceremony is the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Mina, Professor Abdullahi Bala, ably represented by Professor R.E. Olagunju, the Dean School of Environmental Studies at the Federal University of Technology. Professor, welcome. Also with us this morning is one of our guest speakers, a professor of estate management and surveying, the first and the north, in person of Professor Muhammed the Shatima Mina. You are welcome, sir. We also have in our midst also one of the guest speakers in person of Hajia Malama Mariam Lemu. She is a director with the New Horizons College, Mina. Hajia Lemu, you're welcome. Thank you. Also here, we do have the University of Technology, Mina, but right now with the River State University of Science and Technology, Parago, in person of Dr. Dumoma Parango. He's also been accompanied by a retinue of friends, Alaji Umaru Bakai and Alaji Aminu Abubakar. We also have with us also pharmacist Salisu Nabuzo of the Nabuzo Family Pharmacy, Mina. Pharmacy, welcome.
But specifically, our County Surveying family, and we have some National Executive Council members and former National Executive Council members. We just want to acknowledge you if you're here. I've spotted our former Secretary General, QS Debo Oyinleye, FNI QS, and just thank you for that, for acknowledgement. Please, I'm scouting around. You can wave if you're here, like I said. My eyes are playing tricks on me. I'm seeing double, triple. So if I greet you more than once, please don't be offended. But you can just work with me. Thank you very much. Good and also natural for us to invite to the high table the chief celebrant. So right about this time, it is my singular honor and privilege for me to invite to the high table the 6th chairperson of the Women Association of US, Aishatu, Muhammed, and Hajia husband. We would like to come to our hands together and give her a round of applause as we step over the high table. Thank you. We can do better than that. Let's welcome them once again. Wonderful. They make a lovely couple. I'm so envious. I want to be like them when I grow up. Moving swiftly on, we would now like to call on the immediate past chairperson, QS Aderonke Oyelami, FNIQS, FRICS, RQS, for her welcome address. Please, QS Aderonke Oyelami. Please, let's encourage her. Let's encourage her once she comes up. Thank you.
Our past president and pioneer chairperson, QS Mercy Yotia, fellow council members present, our IPC WAQSN chairperson, to the second the second power, that is Professor Ola Babalola. My fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this place, to this occasion, which is the investiture of the 6th chairperson of the Women's Association of Quantity Surveyors, with great joy in my heart. This is also the swearing in of the executive committee members for the 2019 to 2021 tenure of the association. This event was initially planned to coincide and as well mark the International Women's Day of 2020. But due to exigencies of time and logistics, we have had to move this event forward for exigency. Although I believe there are still plans to celebrate the International Women's Day, perhaps at the zonal level. It is about 2 years ago when I officially took over the baton from my predecessor in office. That is the First Lady Professor in Quantity Surveying in Africa, Professor Olubola Babalola, who is a fellow of the Institute, and this held in Lagos. And today we are gathered here in Abuja, where I shall officially hand over the baton to my own successor in office, the amiable and adorable QS Aishatu Muhammed, MNIQS. I give God all praise, glory, and honor for not only making this day a reality, but for the fact that by His grace and mercy, we are all alive and present to witness this grand occasion. The theme of this program is empowerment and career development among professional women in Nigeria. The local organizing committee intends that we should be looking at inclusivity in the global industry, the challenges faced by Nigerian professional women in aspiring to reach the peak of our careers, how we women can maintain a balance between our career, our home, family, and yet maintain maximum wellness in spirit, soul, and body, and enjoy good health. A key objective of our association is the responsibility to encourage more women quantity surveyors to aspire to greater professional recognition by becoming resource persons in writing and delivering academic and practical papers at conferences, seminars, and workshops at the association, the local chapter, the national, and also international levels, thereby building capacity and boosting their personal morale in one fell swoop. Whilst it can be taken for granted that most women are shy and need to be encouraged to come out into public sphere to contribute to a discussion, even amongst colleagues. From the papers lined up for us today, we shall also be delving into the art of public speaking. This will guide us in perfecting the preparation of content and person, and also shed more light on the mode and manner of presentation when speaking in public. I thus encourage every one of us to sit back and listen to the various presentations, whilst I welcome you all once again to this momentous occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please give another round of applause. And for those that know me, know that I'm very shy. Sorry, did somebody say something? Those that know me know that I'm very shy. Am I not shy? Because I heard her mention that shy women have to come out and you have to excel. So don't be shy.
Just of this occasion, I'm very sorry I did not recognize him or welcome him to this event. Pardon me once again, Professor. As a Yoruba lady, I'm on my knees, sir. Please, Professor Abdullahi Bala, please, let us give him a round of applause as part of our appeasement, sir. It is not me to overlook or downplay anything. I'm very sorry, sir. Thank you very much. Please.
To the rest of the program, we'd like to just acknowledge some guests in our midst, and you'll have to forgive me because although my heritage is my fatherland, I have a tendency to my intonation and pronunciation of some names I'm still struggling with. So I would ask you please to bear with me and to forgive me if I pronounce names and they're not quite as phonetically sound as they should be. But notwithstanding, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome architect Moradeke Okunrimboye. Did I get that right? I did. So yes, I did. Oh, she's nodding. Thank you so much. Thank you for covering me. Thank you. She's the immediate past chair, female, of Architects of Nigeria, and she's also the honorary general secretary of Nigerian Institute of Architects. Please give her a round of applause. We'd also like to recognize the former, although he's Young Quantity Surveyors Forum, and that pleased to meet you.
Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that was the welcome address by the immediate past chairperson of WAQSN. WAQSN is a body under the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. So in order of hierarchy, you cannot be a WAQSN member if you are not a member of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. So for this occasion, the chief host is the president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, QS Muhammed Abator, FNIQS, FNIM, MPA. But he's ably represented. He is ably represented by the Deputy Chairman. So may I invite the Deputy President, may I invite the Deputy President of Nigeria Institute of Surveyors to come and present the opening remarks of the President. Mr. Olayemi Sholubi, FNIQS. Can we give the President a loud round of applause?
The President, QS Muhammed, apologize for his inability to be with us. He's presently involved in some statutory duties in his role as the President and National Secretariat. Unfortunately, part of the challenges that we've had, it's been a very long week. We've had an assembly of all registered quantity surveyors all over Nigeria. They've been in Abuja since Wednesday. And because of that, so many of the institutes, national bodies, decided to also have their own program to coincide so that we could have the number. And as a result, the President is actually involved in some statutory duties right now. He sends his best wishes and he asks me to apologize for his behalf. Thank you very much. The chairman of this occasion, Professor Abdullahi Bana, ably represented by Professor R.I. Olamide, Dean of Environmental Studies, Federal University of Tech, Monikemina. The chairperson, Women Association of Quantity Surveyors of Nigeria, QS Aishatu. The immediate past president and former past chairman of the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria, QS Messi Tokeshe Iyoti. Past chairperson, Women Association of Quantity Surveyors, and the only, first female professor of quantity surveying in Africa and I think in the world, Professor Mrs. Bola Babalola. Immediate past chairperson, Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria, Mrs. Adeomoke Adetokunbo Oyilami. Distinguished guests, members of the National Executive Council here present, guests from Ghana who have come to support our sister here, QS Aishatu. I welcome everybody to this occasion. The Women's Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria have done tremendously well since their formation. It's on record that hitherto maybe we used to have maybe one woman in the National Executive Council. But to the glory of God, for this particular National Executive Council, we have 3 women. Can we give them a round of applause? It's obvious that the women quantity surveyors are doing very well. The numbers are increasing. When I came into the role, I was first challenged. I was thinking, am I really in the right place? Because when I saw so many women, and I'm thinking, do we have so many women quantity surveyors in Nigeria? But obviously, like I said, if we have 3 of them already in the National Executive Council, and we already have one as a past president, I believe that the women quantity surveyors, they are on the rise in Nigeria. Can we please give all the way to the round of applause? I would like to join this new expo of the WAQSN that is going to be completed shortly, that they should continue in the tradition of their predecessors. I'm happy that one of the things that they are about today is the plenary session that involves paper presentation and all of that. Because it is essential for all of us as professionals to always ensure that we update our knowledge we upscale ourselves in terms of skills and knowledge. And I've looked at some of the papers that have been presented, and I think that is the way to go. And I will enjoy them to continue in the like manner. They should strive as much as possible to see how they can encourage the girl child to come into the construction industry, and particularly into the QS profession. On that note, I would also like to recognize the builder, Flores Akiyode, and the architect, Okoniboye, who are from sister profession in the built environment. These women are doing well. They have not limited their roles to the kitchen as the other room. And they have expanded their frontiers and are, competing with us the men in all the frontiers. On this note, I would like to declare this event open and welcome each and every one. Thank you.
The President of Institute of Quantity Surveyors. And to introduce the chairman of the occasion for his address. Annette.
Thank you. Before I do that, I'd just like to acknowledge the chairman of NIQS Cross River, and that is in June, Kanem MNIQS. Can we give a round of applause, please? The chairman of the occasion, Professor Abdullahi Bala, FSSSN, is the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, in Niger State. He's ably represented here today by a very distinguished gentleman who is a specialist in his own right. Taking time out of his busy schedule to be here and to support the occasion and to chair the occasion, I would like us to put our hands together for none other than Professor R.E. Olagunju. Please, I will welcome him to the podium for his speech for this event. Who has just walked through the door, that is none other than the President of the Quantity Surveyors Registration Board of Nigeria, and that is our very own QS Muhammed. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to roll on the ground for forgiveness, please. I don't know whether it's the pills, the drugs I'm on, I'm not sure, something is playing with my head. None other than Mutala Aliu, past President NIQS, FNIQS. Please, sir, if you'd like to come to the high table. I didn't want you to have a chance to catch your breath. I know it's been a very busy week. The Quantity Surveyors Registration Board of Nigeria Annual Assembly. Please, can we just welcome him, please, as you come to the high table. Thank you for that, sir. I think I have to sack my doctor, my pharmacist, because he's obviously giving me drugs and I'm hallucinating and I'm dying. So please forgive me for that. So moving on very quickly, I would like to...
Ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm on my knees for keeping the whole occasion to start very late. I'm very sorry. It's just because of our road. I had a problem with the car I was coming with before, so I have to go back and change the car. I'm very sorry for this. Meanwhile, to start the ball rolling, as you all know, I'm on errand. I'm here to represent the original chairman. In person of of Professor Abdullahi Bala, my Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology. He loved to be here, but due to exigency of his office, he was unable to come, and he asked me to represent him. Please, take me the way I am, please. Very sorry for keeping us late. Please permit me to stand on the esteemed protocol. Meanwhile, I have a little here. I may not be able to observe all. Please accept what I have here. The President, NIQS, ably represented by the Deputy President, the President, NIQS, the President, WAQSN, incoming WAQSN President, that's QS Aishatu, Muhammed. Please permit me also to recognize my Honorable General Secretary, NIE. Very welcome, ma'am. Professor here present, all architects here present, WAQSN members here present, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Please, as I told us, I'm to read what I was given to present, though I'm part of it, notwithstanding I'm on errand. So where you see I, know that I mean my Vice Chancellor. I feel privileged and honored to be asked to serve as the chairman of this august occasion, which brings together some of the most accomplished women in our great country, Nigeria. It is gladdening to chair the occasion at which an alumnus of my university is invested with the position of national chairperson. The title of this one-day seminar is Empowerment and Career Development Amongst Professional Women. The seminar is intended to explore the twin issues of empowerment and career development exclusively for the female gender. It is in realization of the fact that women have contributed and continue to contribute significantly to the growth of Nigerian nation. There is a need to ensure that the professional women are supported in their bid to continue making such laudable contributions. This is why the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors of Nigeria, WAQSN, have deemed it necessary at this point in time to organize a seminar that addresses the issues that relate to how professional women can grow and progress in their chosen careers. Quantity surveyors are professionals who work in the construction industry. This is an industry that is responsible for producing everything in the built environment. The houses, roads, bridges, airports, seaports, and so on. The industry is quite a complex one, made up of several stakeholders such as clients, consultants, contractors, statutory authorities, host communities, and end users. Quantity surveyors are part of the consultants in construction industry. Their particular area of professional expertise has to do with the management of cost and value of construction projects. This is a very important part of the multitude of tasks that have to be carried out on any construction project. Without proper cost management, projects are bound to fail and fall short of expectations. Carrying out the task of managing cost and value, issues of work, life balance now come into play. This has to do with how the women's QS balances our professional and personal home duties. At the same time, the woman QS must satisfy our professional superiors at work while ensuring that our partners to aspire to progress in their careers by any more in the affairs of the professional association of QS, the NIQS, QS are in their chosen careers. This is in their work and home life. For this thoughtful act of organizing such an important seminar, WAQSN deserves
our acknowledgement and support. WAQSN represents the continuing effort to improve all spheres of human endeavors by tapping natural resources that have hitherto lain fallow and unused. The biggest natural resources that exist in the world today is not crude oil, natural gas, or sunlight. It is the girls and women who have for long been excluded from participating and contributing productively to local and national economies and the global economy. It is in my firm belief that the profession of quantity surveying has benefited from the creation of WAQSN, which has harnessed the power of the female gender. This is apparent in the higher institutions that offer the quantity surveying discipline. From being very insignificant minorities in their class, women have now progressed to a point where they are equal partners, not only in terms of number of students in class, but also in terms of quality of academic performance. This improvement in female enrollment and performance is due quite significantly to the spirited activities of WAQSN in sensitizing secondary school girls on the possibility and benefits of making a career in quantity surveying. Apart from the seminar which is holding today, WAQSN are also officially bringing on board a new set of national executives. The investiture ceremony marks yet another successful transfer of the baton of leadership and responsibility from the outgoing ESCO to the new ESCO headed by Aishatu Muhammed. This is no mean achievement. It is a commendable feat. Leadership change is not always smooth and free of rancor. It behoves everyone present here to extend our congratulations and best wishes to the new Aishatu Muhammed-led ESCO. I wish them every success in their new positions. Chairperson of WAQSN, Aishatu Muhammed, graduated from the Department of Quantity Surveying of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, in 1997. She has worked on the physical planning and development unit of the same university. After a stretch of some years, Aishatu returned to the classroom and obtained a Master of Technology in Environmental Management. It is happening that a two-time alumnus of my esteemed university is assuming the mantle of leadership as National Chairperson of WAQSN. As the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, it is both reassuring and satisfying that our products are performing extremely well and reaching the highest echelons of achievement in their chosen careers. This reassures us as a university that we are doing the right thing in providing world-class training in more than 50 different disciplines. It also gives us the satisfaction of being acknowledged as a leader in the production of quality manpower for not only our great country Nigeria, but also the world at large. I salute the incoming national chairperson of WAQSN. I wish her and her team all success in their activities of piloting the ship of WAQSN for the next 2 years. Thank you and God bless you.
Professor Ari Olagunju is a professor of architecture and is also a member of the built environment. No doubt when he was reading out the order of protocol, he singled out and also gave attention to the Secretary of the Nigerian Institute of Architects that I had. It's about the translation of the design into the structure. Well, the architects are too aesthetically conscious, but we are money conscious. But I think we normally find a way of getting the balance. Thank you so much for coming. So we are going to do a little bit of reorganizations. We are going to clear off of the high table. As you join us, we set up our projectors here so that we can begin to take the paper presentation. So we'll take the next 3 to 5 minutes to do that. And when our guests are properly seated, we will now set up.
Mr. Cletus Omafu, thank you. We recognize you. Thank you very much. Please encourage them.
He served on several committees on the board of the Nigerian Institute of SURVEYORS and Quality, including education, membership, corporate affairs, and editorial board of the Institute. He facilitated the affiliation of the Nigerian Institute of SURVEYORS and Quality to the International Federation of Surveyors and the pioneer coordinator of the Nigerian Estate Management and Valuation Academics Forum. Professor Nuhu belongs to many other learned societies and associations such as member Nigerian Institute of Management, member Nigerian Environmental Society, and associate member Association of Architectural Educators in Nigeria. He is also a fellow, Institute of Corporate Administration, members of Nigerian Institute of Marketers, and also a member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. He is widely published in reputable journals, national and international. He is also involved in an international training program on financing and management of local infrastructure initiatives under the auspices and sponsorship of Swedish International Development Operations Agency at Sweden, Zambia, and Kenya. He has served as guest speaker in many forums. He is also the founder of a non-governmental organization known as the Basira Bashir Foundation, widely traveled to over 35 countries, including Italy and other African countries. He is also the partner of MB No & Co., a firm of estate surveying consultancy based in Mina. Like I said, he's also the traditional title holder of the Shetim Kuta and the Shetim Mina, every given by His Royal Highness, the Emir of Mina, Alhaji Dr. Umar Faruk. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can we give a round of applause to today's grassroots administrator, academic par excellence, and also a member of the built environment, Professor Olkota.
Is actually professional women in the global construction industry, a roadmap for the balanced gender inclusion. Well, the outline looks like this: introduction, challenges faced by professional women in the construction industry, attainment and satisfaction of professional women in the global industry, methodologies of finding, because there were some few case studies that carried out within the built environment, looking at professional women in that over half of the global talent pool, because they are very dutiful to whatever they do, and they carry out all responsibility with a sense of sincerity and commitment. Our construction industry was once seen as a domain, main domain, but the way this level of the industry, we have very few firms like female quantity surveyors, owing to the fact that a lot of support needs to be given to push them on. Then of course, the professional women in the global construction industry revolve around essential aspects of life, which is the land, construction, and construction industry. Usually, we want to see how this can grow with the gender balance in it, and then also the opportunities in the profession, which the involvement of women is key and critical, that will make the sector really excel in all endeavors. Well, in African setting, the It takes care of the children, it takes care of the husband, it takes care of the professional practices. The non-traditional were traditional, which is taking care of the home front, taking care of the husband, the children, and whatever that goes with it. But women in the global construction industry have a good ambitions of practice and are willing to move the industry to the greater heights. There are aspirations which obviously hindered by many constraining factors, such as the fear of failure. The woman naturally is scared to fail. If you see the female MC, was always apologetic, but she was doing very well. That's one of the key issues that deters most of the female from taking up new challenges. Gender inequality, inadequate funds, and family challenges. That the paper attempts to develop a roadmap for a balanced gender inclusion on how to attract and retain women in the global construction industry. There are a wide range of some problems that we have seen owing to all these challenges in the built environment and of course in the construction industry. And of course research has shown that professionalism has a positive effect on women and families. Despite this, women still encounter a number of difficulties and misperceptions that affect their performance in their chosen career. Women face the problem of contemplating practice and family life. Especially women within the childbearing age find it very difficult to combine practice in construction industry and running the affairs of their family concurrently. Gender inequality, inactive participation is crowded in terms of conferences, MCPDs, if not that the husband is behind the president, incoming president of the WAQSN. I'm sure she wouldn't have made it to this level because the long week of being absent at home for conferences, MCPDs, that's mandatory continuing professional development, workshops and seminars and other also count. You notice that women in attendance are very few in such gatherings due to lack of available advisors and mentors who can encourage their participation in the practice, as this has limited their professional practice growth. Phobia for failure, which is one of the worries of women who intend to go into practice, and limitation of funds to set up the practice base is actually a hindrance. The focal point of this paper is to investigate on a way to attract and retain women in the global construction industry in an inclusive manner. Here also, the study will identify challenges faced by professional women in the global industry and develop a roadmap for balanced gender inclusion. The group is women working in professional and technical positions. The second group is in administrative positions, and the last group is construction labor work. As shown in this picture, most of them are doing very well when you look at women working in positions. But these black and white pictures is talking about promotion of women coming together and bringing out the best in supporting themselves, which didn't start just today. And that's the way that has assisted them in taking them to a greater height. There are women in also technical positions, into a lot of specialized labor skill activities that are demonstrated in these pictures. And you also see women in administrative positions. Of recent is the first female in Africa. I don't think there's we got a second one recently. But again, she has demonstrated many dexterities, and which can serve as a role model to encourage the women professional in attaining administrative positions. She was not just the first head of state in Africa, she was also a Nobel Peace Prize winner. She was also the first chair of Economic Community of West African States, which is the first ever woman to attain this position. This is an encouragement that women can do it, and we can get it to whatever level we find ourselves. These are women also working construction sites, and not just limited to Nigeria. This picture was deliberately put there to encourage to see what is happening. It's not the case. This is a picture from India. You will see similar kinds of it here, where women are involved in crushing stones, supplying building materials, and the related issues. One should be proud of what is doing. Also see this is also from Rwanda, where low-cost houses are being promoted and constructed by women association. And this is a kind of lessons we can learn to import from here. And further to it, we also see at construction site a greater role that women are taking. Both from the engineering perspective to physical, even carpentry responsibilities. And this cut across the global, arena, and it's not just limited to us. But of course, in spite of all this enticement, there are challenges faced by professional women in global construction industries. Professional women in global construction industries have strong ambitions to establish firms of their own and practice so as to move up into the chosen profession, but face a lot of hurdles that hinder them from moving forward. Although women of today have gained more influence when compared to women of yesterday, yet there is still incomplete balance between the two genders, as prejudice still exists. According to Women Leadership Initiative report in 2015, that women in leadership in real estate and land use industry, out of 1,234 female members of Urban Land Institute surveyed for the study, 68.6% wish to hold C-class position or set up their own firm in their chosen career. The study has shown that women have displayed sense of hopefulness and aspiration in their profession. These have shown that there are gaps hindering their aspirations, as women, very few of them make it to the top, especially in big organizations. The study also revealed that all the ULI members who achieve executive directors, senior officers in their various organizations, only 14% of them are women. It was further observed that women who achieve leadership roles, most especially in small and medium-sized companies, which are fewer than 100 staffs, according to Aishatu and others, gave the following challenges faced by women in real estate and construction industry as follows. One, women seen as incapable. Of course, it is believed that when women support each other, incredible things happen. And that's why we're here today. We see the sign that women are coming together. And there's no limitation. Keep up the spirit in this direction. A roadmap for a balanced gender inclusion is basically looking at the gender equality, gender equity, gender equality between the widespread and but of course, put the foot on the ground has always been the issue. These terms are frequently used by the media, government, and United Nations, and other as well as we see how some countries have moved in the way of education. The construction industry is perceived as being dominated. Working hours, working away from home. Standard approach in agriculture, construction industry work environment leads to conflict in balancing work and family. The UK construction industry recently has become more close taking job to short. There are similar cases delivering to some of the claims we have in this country. These are the case study I've had. These are examples, Navy, the Syria, and almost about 300 indicate that the respondents have good number of years of professional experience, as such can give required information needed for this. And this other table shows that 30.8% work in built environment. Some are architects, quantity surveyors, estate surveyors, and none responded from the estate agency firms. 5.8% work in construction site, 43.6% work in ministry and parastatals, and then 19.8% with tertiary institutions. This indicates that there are good representation of women in various organizations. The study discovered that professional women faced the problem of contemplative practice with construction industry. The study further concludes that gender is not a factor in ruling out talent, and respondents engage in various duties of construction industries. We made some number of recommendations, which of course the new ESCO can look into to see how we can change the picture and the narration thereafter. And we also encourage most of the men to give them all the required support. Of course, I must not end without acknowledging my wife, who is actually a registered estate surveyor of Valua. She assisted me she's the chief land officer in the Niger State Ministry of Urban Development Board, who greatly assisted me in the data collection, because most of the females were not interested to listen from another man, because of this cultural issue. So she did all the telephone inquiries and the interaction. And also, I must recognize QS Aisha, acknowledge QS Aisha Muhammed for identifying me to be a presenter in this investiture. Indeed, she's my childhood sister. We grew up almost in the same streets. I was beginning to decipher what was the reason. But of course, she's doing very well. I must also recognize that there's one Nana Bala Ibrahim. She's a fellow of the... when I visited most trainings, I saw they were just doing the action that I saw. And I encouraged the state governor to appoint her to MENA, an Institute of Technology and Innovation. Believe me, yesterday I was in that. Yeah, she's doing increasingly very wonderfully, very well that has motivated me. And I'm positive that it's one of the very rare things that is doing us proud in this endeavor. But I will
of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. He's a past president of the African Association of Quantity Surveyors. He's a past president of the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria. He's a member of the Board of Trustees, Green Building Council of Nigeria. He's a member of the Board of Trustees, Construction Industry Arbitrators. He is a member of the Board of Trustees, Professional Bodies of Nigeria. He is a member of the... Please, can we begin to at least acknowledge and thank you with a round of applause. He is a member of the Board of Trustees of the St. Finbar's College Old Boys Association. In 2001, he was listed as one of the 500 leaders of influence by the American Biographical Institute, USA. He was also listed as one of the 2,000 outstanding intellects of the 20th century by the International Biographical Center, Cambridge, in the United Kingdom. He was awarded the ICEC Distinguished International Fellowship DIF Award at the 11th ICEC World Congress, and that was in Sydney, Australia, in October 2018. He's happily married to children. He's happily married, to Niniola, and are blessed with 3 boys and 1 girl. He is our special guest of honor, but he is also our big grand patron of WAQSN, and that is none other than Mr. QS Joseph Olusegun Ajane Koko, PPNIQS, FNIQS, and the current president of CARSO, which is the Commonwealth Association of Surveying and Land Economy. Please, can we give a round of applause for our grand. In the same vein, I would also like to recognize QS Dr. Femi Balogun, FNIQS. He is the DG of the Quantity Surveying Academy and the NIQS. You are also welcome here. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us. To the head of Administration and Resource Management at New Horizons College, Minna in Nigeria. She's also one of the directors of ProStart Consultants, a capacity building consultancy firm based in Nigeria. She has traveled around the world delivering seminars on a number of topics, including leadership and personal development. She's very passionate about what she does, and specifically about human development and character building, which is so important. Also, she delivers engaging public talks on marriage and pre-marriage topics, and particularly enjoys relationship coaching, and counseling. She's a known face with regular television appearances in Nigeria. She's very, very beautiful. Please give her a round of applause. She's the host of the popular talk show Sisterly on Alif TV and Ramadan show on NTA. She also produces YouTube video series and has a large social media following as well. She has a broad range of expertise, including public speaking, coaching, and communication, just to name a few. She also provides consultancy to private schools based on her strong commitment to, again, character development, social responsibility, and values which are driven by leadership. Can we welcome Mrs. Mariam Lemu, please, to the podium as she delivers her paper. Thank you very much. You are welcome, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone, and permit me to stand on existing protocols. We live in a society and a world where there are so many barriers. Some are invisible until we get to them. Some are barriers of prejudice. In some parts of the world, the barriers are those of race, indigence, migrant and settler barriers, and in other areas, it's of religion, barriers of age, gender, your education level, or your social standing. It may be the main reason why some get to climb up the ladder while others are left behind. It may be the reasons behind why some get to live a more comfortable life than others. There are barriers, yes. However, if you look around, you find people, in spite of these barriers and challenges, they surmounted them. And they crossed over. And they thrived. If you look at a country that about 100 years ago were lynching, hanging black people, who would imagine that 100 years later, a black man would be the president? There are always examples of women from various ethnic backgrounds or religious backgrounds that have faced challenges and they have overcome them. Those individuals are proof that those barriers are breakable. That yes, there are challenges, but what we should ask ourselves is, what was special about the circumstances or those individuals that allowed them to break those barriers? For quantity surveyors, just like civil engineers, and others in various professions, where the majority are not women, they face a lot of hurdles. But in a field like law, where currently we have more female law students than men, if you rewind back 50 years ago, you wouldn't believe we'd be where we are today. That first group that normalized the abnormal, that faced the challenges, were the trailblazers, and they were the role models that we looked up to, that gave us the green light to charge on. They became the ones that proved to the status quo that we can represent and we can perform. So whatever challenges that may exist today, someday folks will look back and share stories of how you in this room and others just like you overcame them and thrived in spite of the challenges. There are those who would like to put barriers to gender progress, but nearly everywhere where those have been sustained, they have encountered various problems in their societies. Can you imagine that in some countries where women were excelling academically in fields of this and that, they decided to increase the cutoff mark for women and reduce the cutoff mark for men into universities, just so more men can have access and they can control the number of women. But what did that end up doing? It meant that the women who eventually got that admission, they were the best and the brightest. They were the ones sweeping the first class. So even though they tried to reduce their numbers, those women were the ones who eventually became the professors, the experts, the specialists, and the consultants. And after about 20 years, you could see that the women were the brains. If they wanted anyone to represent them on any world platform against the best and the brightest, they would send the women. And right now in many countries, in the Middle East and in Asia, women are the majority in universities. So one way or another, it will eventually have an effect on society. And that's what happens when we try to compete instead of cooperate. There has to be fair and equal balance. Now let me make it clear, we're not here to compete with men. We are here in cooperation with men for a better world. And just as you have barriers that have been made by some men to block women, you also have men involved in breaking those same barriers and helping women progress. There will always be challenges, frustrations to greet you. You can't make people respect you from the masses by passing better, being more competent, being more marketable, so that when opportunities come, hands down, it's so easy for you to be the one selected to climb up the ladder. As quantity surveyors, who in a domain for centuries women have made, and in a field like this, it is getting more and more difficult to draw the line between quantity surveying and information. So where is the future headed? It's about soft skills. So unlike before, when you hear quantity surveyors, your desk and your computer is doing most of the work for you. So how proficient are you on the soft skills needed to thrive in your industry? In plants, now it's becoming more and more a level playing field, and anyone what we can do with our current realities and the direction the wind is blowing. Soon, gender will not be the issue. It will actually be who will the computers replace. To prevent extinction in this field, and not just being okay with being okay, but shooting for excellence. When last did you take an online course? When last did you try to catch up on the latest trends and do more research? These days, the era of bureaucracy is becoming outdated and red tape. The days of climbing up the ladder because of your years of experience, even when you are not delivering the goods, is disappearing. We are catching up with the real world, with the rest of the world, who are moving into an era of what do you have to offer today that's relevant. Are you the best at what you do? Because average won't cut it anymore. And gender definitely won't be the issues to be concerned about. You're going to need to have some solid, deep roots if you're going to survive. And it requires us to start now. The Chinese bamboo tree is an interesting plant. Once the seed has been put into the ground, all you see for 4 years is about 4 inches above the ground. However, during those 4 years, there's a huge fibrous root system that's growing deep and wide into the ground. And then in the 5th year of the life of the Chinese bamboo tree, that tree shoots up to over 100 feet in just 1 year. So what can we learn about the Chinese bamboo tree? That we need to also plant those deep roots solidly into the ground. Because what's so special about the bamboo tree is come rain or shine, winds, tornadoes, you find the bamboo tree can bend, but it can hardly break. And that requires you to think like the bamboo tree. Be an expert in the industry. Let me ask you a question. Based on your knowledge of the industry today, what are those deep roots that you need to plant so that you can go far and stand out and thrive in your industry? Please, who can just share, what do you think are the most important key skills you need to survive today? Anybody, just raise your hand and shout. Just shout from out there. Communication skills. All right, so that's something that maybe you will need to do more homework on. Effective communication. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? The most important skill, yes, sir?
Capacity building.
Capacity building, absolutely. In what particular area? Capacity building.
Soft skills.
Soft skills, exactly, because that's where the trend is heading. So when was the last time you updated your skills? You have to take a decision today. The question is, do you have the drive? Are you motivated? Some are in this profession not because of their choice, but sadly they're the ones who make the most noise, and they're the ones who put the most obstacles on other people's path. So you can't be whining about what's not working for you and what obstacles are out there. But in all honesty, sometimes we are our own obstacles. When you think about those who have gone through worse before us, they thrived. If you are to sit and think of all the possible reasons why you cannot be successful in the industry, why you cannot break those glass ceilings, I can help you add to that list. There was a boy who went to the zoo one day with his father. And as they entered the zoo, the father was pointing out all the animals that are caged. There were birds, monkeys, there were even snakes that were caged. Be the titles before and after your name. Quantity Surveyor, Hajia, Mrs. Binta, Ndamaju, CNN, FBI, ABC. Barrister, Princess Janet Chukwudi, KGP, NDLEA, NDA, and EINDOMIE. I know so many PhD holders who haven't got much to offer. So it does not matter what this paper qualification is that you are bragging around with. If you are not contributing positively, I am so sorry, the input is not producing the right output. So don't overestimate yourself, but don't underestimate yourself either. Be humble. Keep renewing yourself, keep sharpening your saw, and keep evolving. Be a professional in everything you do. Let at least those who are coming out of Nigeria in your field break the stereotypes. Those who are in this room today, I swear to God, you are trailblazers, because there aren't too many of you in the industry. Excellence in everything you do. And for the men, we thank you for the support, and we ask you to please continue to support. The gentleman who spoke before me mentioned some of the challenges, especially with the family and the home front. But please try and provide daycare services for the women so that they can also prove they are great. But please don't be obstacles. Help them, give them stepping stones instead. Remember, there has to be fair balance in everything we do, otherwise something will suffer. We often attend lecture upon lecture, but often what you say is to what end? Let it not just be another lecture today. Ask yourself, who will you inspire? Who will you uplift? Who will you help climb up? And how will history judge you? Something that has always helped me throughout my life is something my mother taught me to always do. To ask myself, in what way is my presence felt? In what way is my presence felt? And will my absence be noticed? I thank you all for your time. I ask you to forgive me if I have erred in any way. I'd like to also congratulate Quantity Surveyor Aishatu Muhammed. Congratulations on this new role. May Allah be with you and guide you through this journey. Thank you. Please.
Please, you can do better than that. I should thank you. That was awesome. That was wonderful. Our very own NIGERIAN, head admin and human resources, human rights college winner. We can take so much away from that. I think we are being truly empowered this morning and today through our speakers so far. There's so much more that is yet to come. And again, because we are very conscious, CT chapter chairman for the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, and that is QS Joseph Otani, FNIQS. Please, can we give him a round of applause, please, as we acknowledge him. Do we have any questions and answers? Because it looks like our speaker is rushing away. Okay, she said she has to go, but we have the detail.
That is so the things go. Please block it. It's not hot.
I also want to put it on record that your love of capacity building for your members will definitely keep you ahead of the pack. I wish you well. I'm absolutely delighted to be here to be speaking to you today on a topic that is often taken for granted by most Nigerians: the art of public speaking. It is not enough that you are brilliant or you hold a very high position in the society. If perchance you occupy a leadership position, it is even worse, because if you do not speak well, your position is already at half-mast. The issue is throwing down the gauntlet and saying, as we often do in Nigeria, that English is not my father's language. That is a very bad way to address our deficiencies. Public speaking is so critical to national development because it is basically communication and transmission of messages. Now, if this fails because you are speaking in a heavily accented tongue, or you have mannerisms that get in the way of what you are trying to say, and your message is badly transmitted, then that's a really big problem for the nation. If we all go around not really understanding what the other person is saying, then there is a breakdown in communication. This means policies, instructions and messages are not well received and efficiency is threatened. But above all, we must remember that the language of communication in Nigeria, the language of governance, the language of officialdom, continues to remain English. It is not Yoruba, it is not Tiv, it is not Hausa, it is not Igbo or Igbira or Igala, neither is it Fulfulde. Therefore, as long as English remains the language of governance and communication in Nigeria, then we must speak it well and deploy it appropriately. I've been blessed with the ability to be engaged in the area of public speaking for nearly 40 years and counting, to include TV presentation, anchoring national events, and delivering papers like I am doing today, and moderating high-level events. These activities are all different arms of public speaking, and each one requires certain general skills and some specific skills. Each one requires hard work, attention to detail, preparing, and the ability to want to learn, the ability to speak English well. Each one requires preparation and research. Experience and research will always make the difference. It may seem effortless when I am on the podium, but the work and practice that has gone into it is often unprecedented. Let us start from the top and ask, why is public speaking important? Public speaking is important because First, it breaks down the barriers between persons. When you are delivering a paper or anchoring an event, you must first connect with your audience by being simple and clear and understanding your topic well enough in order to impact. Public speaking is not about showing off your intellectual prowess by using bogus words, highfalutin language. It's about communicating effectively by using simple words that are full of meaning. It is also important for imparting knowledge, making connections, and ensuring that we all understand each other better. As they say, it is better to jaw than to war. For public presentation, there is knowledge, skills, and grace combined. I shall be giving you universal tips for public speaking, and I've broken it into two parts: anchoring an event and presenting a paper. Both all fall under the purview of public speaking. Some are blessed with the ability to do both, others are not. I am one of the lucky few to be able to do the two. Anchoring presidential events, conducting television interviews, and moderating high-level events have been the icing on the cake. My broadcast career, which started in Makurdi many years ago, has positioned me to be the public speaker that I am today. I've watched with trepidation public speaking from MCs to moderation to paper presentation degenerate so badly that when I am at a public event, I wonder if there's someone about to say something terrible, and every day it gets worse. Comedians are not really MCs, but they have jumped into the field, and now you have comedians struggling to become masters of ceremony, and they do such a bad job of it. So they stand in front of you, they look at their client and say things like, "Oh, you see this person celebrating her 60th birthday, she used to be very poor, you know. Or, I knew her when she was riding a beetle. Hey, see how rich she is now." Very stupid things that have nothing to do with public speaking. I used to wonder why we continue to hire them to destroy an event, because they do not have the skills of a master of ceremony. Very few comedians are able to be master of ceremonies. Sometimes they say, "Oh, you see why this wedding is very nice? It's because the parents live in Metama. You see children from Nyanya." What has that got to do with the job? I used to just sit there and think I'm going to run under the table and hide, because they say a lot of rubbish. It requires training. Half of the comedians who are in the field are not trained. Half of the MCs who are taking your money are not trained. What they do is, everybody is making money from this field, let me join. And they come there, they don't even know the name of the special guest of honor. They have not taken time to know. When you do presidential events, there's a certain protocol that must be followed, and a lot of masters of ceremonies don't know it. It has become, to my greatest honor, that presidents request for my protocol list, and I send it to them so that they can copy it when they are going to speak. Because I've done it so long, I have experience in knowing that the Senate president comes before the House Speaker, and that the ministers come under National Assembly members, because one is elected and one is appointed. And the appointed ones never come before the elected ones in a democracy. So National Assembly members and ministers have attacked me to say, "Why are you putting National Assembly members before us?" But in a democracy, they were appointed. Any one of us can be appointed. But an election is what democracy is driven on. And when a man becomes a member of the National Assembly, he has a higher protocol status than a minister. How many masters of ceremony have spent time to understand this? They bungle it, they call Ngige a different name, they call another, they don't even know who is who. The moment ministers are appointed, my staff are asked to go and fetch their pictures so I can study it for 1 week. And when I'm on the podium, if I see them, I recognize them. As a public speaker, you must do your research. You don't just come and stand in front of the podium and think because you even speak good English, that's enough qualities for you to be. There is so much work that goes with it. You have to listen to your client. You have to understand what time it is. And sometimes your client is not even a paying client. Sometimes your client is somebody who accepted to be MC for, like the QS MC today, decided that she would stand here. She would have studied what is coming up on the program, understood it, known how long it is. She has already passed me a piece of paper that says 20 minutes, please. She's doing her work. How many of us can stand without having 200 butterflies in our stomachs. The essence of the art of public speaking is having those 200 butterflies, as my colleague Cyril Stober will say, fly in formation. When they are everywhere in your stomach and they are not organized, that's when you are nervous. And those are very important areas for public speaking. Everybody gets nervous. Just before the network news goes on, I get nervous. I steady myself after I've said, good evening, welcome to network news. It's a human nature to be nervous. It's that area of knowledge, skills, and praise. The pain of watching people bungle a simple speech of last year, and we have resumed the next set. We get 22 people in a room, myself, Cyril is our guest tutor, and another lady, Maria Cadillo, and we take people through public speaking, and people improve over the 3 days where we put them. We think it's important, that it's correct. We also have public speaking weekend, which is not as high profile as the executive masterclass. 2 general tips are: 1, be well dressed. Be well dressed. It's badly placed. Your kaftan is torn or it's dirty and you're wearing the wrong shoes. A lot of young girls today, I see them as MC, they wear half a handkerchief, they say it's a dress, they show up. And sometimes, at very important people's events, I went to somebody's birthday and I was shocked. The MC was a complete disaster. A small girl doesn't know anybody. How did she get hired? Some of our problems are event planners. The event planner will tell you his birthday was the vice president, and nearly died. She didn't even know how to refer to him. In this handkerchief, I just couldn't believe it. Like, really? Why? Public speaking is such a critical area of field that whether you are hiring or you are learning, we must all take it seriously as a nation. So be well dressed. When you are well dressed, you command the requisite attention for you. When I mean well dressed, I don't mean be overdressed until you look like a masquerade. No. Don't tie your gele. Even when we were reading the news, NTA had a standard policy. As head of presentation, I used to say to my presenter staff, you cannot tie gele that will prevent people from hearing the news. You tie 3-story building. Then instead of a simple necklace, you are wearing 3 bones. Nobody is going to hear you. It's called visual noise. When you are going on television, even to represent quantity surveyors, be decently dressed. Be moderately dressed. Don't be over. A party is different from being a public presenter or a public speaker. You can wear all the shine if you are going to a party. But please, if you are going on TV, people will not hear you. Everything will be like this at home. Then they will be looking at your dress. Or the style is too distracting. Or your headgear is wrong. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Read a lot. When you read a lot, you have the necessary vocabulary for your speech. But if you are not reading, you don't read. And women are very famous for not thinking newspapers are important. Don't go and read only the cookery tips. Don't go to the fashion page only. Go and read about oil and gas. Learn a little bit about it. About buildings. Find out which buildings are collapsing. Learn the reasons why. So that when they put you on TV or you are standing in front of people, you can give requisite examples that can be checked. Go to Google. Research your work. Know who the first quantity surveyor in America is. Quote some of the things that the president of QS is saying in Nigeria, what happened in 1979, and how QS is relevant to the world. Learn how to arrange your paper. So read a lot. The rest I'm going to give you are universal tips. Please permit me to speak to the issues. I shall drop anecdotes as I go along where necessary. I chose not to put it on this thing because it can be pretty distracting. And then you cannot really have a connect with your audience. So I didn't do PowerPoint deliberately. My paper is online and it will be shared. A, voice training, modulation, enunciation, breathing exercises. These are key to your anchoring, public speaking, and facilitating duties. Effective communication is crucial for these areas of work. Get some public speaking training. What I find is that people are stuck in the way they speak and they do not think they need it. So you're like, well, everybody can hear me, I really don't need public speaking training. Because you do. Sometimes it's for clarity. Sometimes it's for pronunciation. Sometimes it's for the way you pace your paper. Sometimes it's for the way you deliver your paper. And what time it is that you can put in a joke if you need to. And which time it is, how to open, how to close, and what the middle of your paper is. You need to master and train your voice for clarity, authority, and cadence. You cannot anchor in Igbira or Hausa. For this job, you have to speak well, and you have to speak well in English, except the event was primed to be in Yoruba. Also be you. Do not adopt a new accent. Don't try to be another person. Don't flavor it up. Don't Americanize it. Don't cross Yoruba with American English and sound horrible. I hear a lot of those on the radio today. A lot of our radio presenters are speaking a new language, a mixture of Hausa and English, a mixture of Americana and Igbo. And I'm asking myself, who are these? They are not Nigerian. We don't know what they are saying. All right? And they're feeling very important and calling themselves, the moment broadcasting became OAP, on-air personality. That is when Wahala started. So somebody will tell you I'm an OAP. What does that even mean? You are a broadcaster, for goodness sake. You are a presenter. They tell you I'm an on-air personality. Meaning what? And they think it's a very important, and then they speak badly. And then they feel proud to speak badly. Something is wrong. B, repeating yourself when you have nothing to say as an anchor or a public speaker is a crime. Research so you have enough content. You do not have to use everything you have. Let the event evolve. C, learn from the masters. Listen to the masters. Go online. Find out about TED Talk and listen to Obama, for example. Listen to Cyril Stober when he delivers the news. Listen and learn from the masters. When we were young, we used to listen to Bode Alalade. We used to listen to Khalifa Baba Ahmed. We paid attention to these people because they spoke so well and we learned to speak like them. D, do not hurry to the money. Volunteer and get some skill set while volunteering. If you want to get involved in public speaking, volunteer to speak at the naming ceremony of your cousin. Run the MC for them. You are learning as you are volunteering. For many years, I was completely unaware that the role for Master of Ceremony was paid for. When I'm talking about don't run for the money. And so I was Master of Ceremony to the Abachas for nearly how many years? I wasn't paid a dime and I did not know that people paid for it. Some years later, I found out that somebody was collecting my money. For years. In fact, one day, the Minister of Women Affairs, I came in to do something to do with International Women's Day. And I used to come in from Lagos. I was based in Lagos every year for like 4 years. And a lady in the Ministry of Women Affairs used to bring me. They would put me in the Hilton, and I used to be very excited because I couldn't afford it. So I was happy that they put me in the Hilton. Then my parents lived in Lokoja, so for me it was somebody has paid ticket for me to go and see my mother and father. So I used to be very happy. Then one day Judith Atta said to me, Minister of Women Affairs, looked at me and said to me in my mother's language, she's from my mother's place, she said to me, you think we are now going to be adding money to the money you're already collecting? This was year number 4. And I used to come 12, at least 10 times a year. She said, so you think we're going to add money to the money you already collect? That 100,000 naira is enough for you, won't add any more money. I see you have asked for 50,000 more. Who is going to give you? And I pretended that I did not understand. All the young girls and boys who used to carry my box as I'm going to the airport, because they used to give me 5,000 naira. I was going to the airport, they give me 5,000. So I paid the taxi. Taxi then was 1,500 to go to the airport, 1,500 to come. So I had 3,000. So I gave the boys who carried my box 1,000. Then I kept 1,000 in case I knocked down a granite seller to pay. So I go to Lagos like that. And one of them said to me, because I'm very good at masking my emotions, so I kept my face blank when the minister said, I'm not going to add any more money, and I just walked away. And one of them said, ma, it's one of the directors that has been signing and collecting your money. For 4 years, I would have built a house. Because at that time, 100,000 was a lot of money. Not only was she collecting my money, she now applied for an increase of 50,000. On my behalf. But today, my kids used to ask me, did you ever tell her? I said, no, she doesn't even know that I know. It's your ability to keep your integrity. That was not my money. If it was my money, God would have enabled it. But also, it told me her character. And although she was my friend, she's still my friend, I'm more cautious about her. Because I know that if you can take my money for 4 years, you really can kill me. And then you go and increase it by 50,000, it means you can destroy me. And I had needs. I was flying to Abuja, do the work and fly away. And I did not know. But those 14 years that I was doing that work without pay, without knowing they paid for it, was my years of training by God. He polished me. Today I can name my fee. Many times I've been abroad, the client will fly me in business class and pay me my fee and bring me into Nigeria. God was training me. So when you are doing those things, you need to understand that when you volunteer, you are training yourself. Add event architecture, it adds value. Learn how a program is run down. Be interested in unusual details. Find out about the army band. How many people are in the band? Who is the leader of the band? Small details will make you a better public speaker if you are anchoring an event. Arrive an hour and a half to your event. I'm very famous for arriving when the DJ is the only one in the room. It helps you to know who is praying. Helps you to know whether the program has changed. Helps you to know who are your guests. Helps you to write down the protocol list. Gives you time to breathe. Manage your nerves. Is crucial. Coming early helps to prevent you from being nervous. Having enough knowledge also helps to reduce the incidence of sweaty palms. Know your subject matter. It's like riding a horse. Stay in control. Never take anchoring or facilitating for granted. It's a very challenging area that needs focus and preparation. It has made many a woman or man look silly if they are neither prepared nor skilled in the field. All of the above are universal for anchoring and facilitating events. I've also mined from my experience. The rest of my paper, which will take another 4 or so minutes, will dwell on making impactful presentations and speeches. Note that many of the tips earlier stated can apply to presenting a paper. When you are invited to make a presentation, it is because the organizers have looked at 20 other names and arrived at yours because they believe you are an authority in the field and because they trust you. You are not expected to disappoint or take them for granted by not preparing or delivering a wishy-washy, uninspiring paper. Here are some useful guidelines. A, it does not matter how knowledgeable you are in the field, prepare. B, again, research is critical for a good presentation. C, be confident. Stand straight without being too stiff and don't slouch. Use podium, lean on a table, it makes you less nervous. Also, don't be stationary. Walk the room if space permits, depending on the paper. Know your subject matter. Break it down. Don't make it too professional, too highfalutin that people don't understand what you're saying. Okay? Use an opening quote that speaks to the issue to break the ice or an anecdote. A personal story from your life, like I just did, to connect with your audience. When I speak to young people, I go to their music and pick up one with a positive influence and I sing it. Together, we open with a song. They love music. It works all the time. Don't begin with errors. This will throw you off balance. And it will lose your audience and then indignify you. Practice your opening comment many times in front of a mirror. Do not overdo it. Have structure. Do not constantly be going to Afghanistan or have a truly scattered presentation. Speak to the paper. Know it like the back of your hand. Do not be too focused on reading it. Anything can fail. Computer can fail you, or you may lose your glasses. When that happens, you must know your paper so you can deliver it without the paper. Try to speak extempore and be as simple as you can. Keep it simple. Keep your eye contact with your audience if you can manage it. First timers should look at the back of the hall so you are not nervous. Because sometimes you might see a friend nodding or she's shaking her head and talking to another person, you think she's saying your paper is not good. Then you become more nervous. Look at somebody who is nodding in approval and hold that person's energy. Look to the back of the hall so you don't see your cousin in the audience who will throw you off balance. It's very important. Stay focused. Tell a relatable story. Use nuggets. Teach something. Let your audience take something away always. Dress well. Looking good is good business. Know your audience. Who are they? Where are they in the organization? What type of persons are they? Bring the energy. Remember, you can't talk down at your audience. You have to talk to them. Make it interactive. Be unbiased. Do not use tribal examples. Don't say Igbos are these, Yoruba. Don't do that. We do it, comedians do it a lot. It's very disrespectful. I think you shouldn't do it. I don't think it's funny. I think it's generalization, and sometimes it can be pretty stupid. And then it's overused. They've used it and it's dead. Don't use it. Please. Check your facts. There's nothing as bad as you're delivering a paper and the facts are all wrong. Bring an interesting factoid to the table. Talk like a thought leader. Be an influencer. Pace yourself. Don't throw too many words in one sentence. Be pleasant. Be polite. Never insult your audience. Do not be the painful expert. Be gracious. Do not run away from writing reports or minutes. Writing well can help you speak well. It can help you read well. It is residual knowledge. Work on effective communication and public speaking skills. Let your opening and your closing be memorable. Here are other things, I'm going to run through this to improve your public speaking. Research. As with everything worth doing well, you must research the event, the subject matter. What are the expected outcomes? Who is coming? Who are the speakers? This would fill in the gaps for your assignment. Insist on a rundown and get the biodata of the speakers at the event way ahead in order to allow you to introduce them properly. Including how to pronounce their names correctly. It's so important. It makes them connect to you. Keep biodata down to 2-3 paragraphs, except if it's a keynote speaker. Do not read 4 pages of anyone's resume. It's too much. Liaise with the event owners. Don't overdo or overwrite recognitions. Understand your protocol. Watch your time. Everyone depends on you to pilot the event. Embrace mid-event changes and recover quickly. Sometimes when they give you a piece of paper to say you have 1 minute left, you can throw your whole paper out of gear. Stay focused. Stay focused and keep your time so that nobody keeps reminding you of the time. Be firm and professional. Don't continue to pander to event organizers. Okay, introduce this. Okay, stop doing this. Okay, tell them to go to tea. Arrange and agree with them so that you don't keep changing. Nobody is going to remember that the organizers told you to change everything. They will just remember that you were a bad MC and you were a bad moderator. Remember, it's not about you. Remember to advise, suggest, because sometimes the organizers themselves are confused. So you need to advise and suggest. It's not about you. A truly bad anchor, and I see a lot of comedians do it, spend the time talking about themselves. You see, they have not paid me my balance. You see, when I was MC to A, and when I did this MC in this place, it's not about you, it's about the event. Please. It is a complete put-off. If you must pitch and promote yourself, be subtle. Alright? Do not offer unsolicited information. A lot of times, anchors talk too much and then talk themselves into a knot. Your training should ensure you know when to pull back, when to pace. A couple of weeks ago, I spoke to bloggers about blogging responsibly. One of the things I told them is that not all things are blog worthy. It's not everything you know that you should come and talk about. It's wrong. Verbosity and highfalutin nonsense does not give you a good paper. Dress well. All eyes are on you. Look the part. If there are 2 of you, determine who is a senior anchor to take the lead and balance well. Allocate the program rundown appropriately. Rehearse. Ensure everyone has a fair space and time to speak. Don't dominate. Don't try too hard. Be polite. Inappropriate jokes or remarks should never be in your paper. Whether you're working towards becoming a successful facilitator or anchor, or you're working towards a keynote address as a public speaker, read widely. I'm not necessarily one of the most intelligent persons around, but I am certainly very knowledgeable about a lot of things. I'm a voracious reader. 2 to 3 newspapers a day, 3 to 4 magazines a month, at least 3 to 4 books a month. In this regard, you can never go wrong if you're a reader. It places you on top of your game. Whatever you do, preparing to make impactful speeches and presentations always stands you in good stead, whenever the opportunity comes. Engaging audiences is part of what I do, but none of it arrives at my doorstep gift wrapped. It requires hard work. Whatever you do in life, you must train for it. Some are gifted speakers, others have to learn it. It is given to everyone to conquer their fears, and there is always a first time. With practice and the tips I've given today, your first time is not far away. If you're already in the field, you must always practice, update yourself, consolidate your skills. You can join a Toastmasters club, attend TEDx events, get public speaking training. As a TEDx speaker myself, I know that these events can help to mold you in public speaking by watching and learning. I hope my intervention has made some difference to aspiring anchors and speakers alike. I thank you for the opportunity to share, and I thank you for your attention.
And I'm happy because she said,
well done.
Thank you. With errors that you made, those dwell on them. So the errors that I made earlier, I'm not dwelling on them. If you're not dwelling on them, I'm not dwelling on them. Do you like my outfit, by the way?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Do you like my outfit? Not too much, not too little, just the right temperature. And Eugenie Abu Media Center, please give her another round of applause. Thank you very much. We are equals because we have a senior and we have a junior. But I think today, would you agree with me that we are equals for this event?
Sort of.
Oh, okay, sort of. That's sort of equals. Okay, all right, thank you. Over to you.
Like Eugenia who has spoken, you want to be cautious, and but I hope in that line of business, where actually her students, so she will permit whatever limitations that we have got. That was an excellent year. Can you give her another round of applause? While we were having the tea break, and the most, of course, one of our guests of honor arrived, and I will, it's my singular honor and privilege to announce the presence of QS Esu Hassan Baba. He is the Niger State Coordinator for the Rural Access and Mobility Project, a World Bank project in the United States. The last but not the least speaker. She's not the last because of the way the program has been arranged. But you also believe with me that she also have a very, very tough job to do. If I had an input in arranging the program, I would have made Eugenia go the last. But I know she's going to be pardoned because, first of all, she's a medical doctor. I know doctors don't talk so much. But she's also in an area where she has to relate much with the public because she's actually a specialist in public health. She is a graduate of the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, where she got her Bachelor in Medicine and Bachelor in Surgery. She also has a Master's in Public Health from the University of Liverpool, United Kingdom. Back home in our state of Niger, we are so proud of the supportive role that she has been giving Her Excellency, the Governor of Niger State, where they are together implementing the Raise Foundation projects, measuring in cancer, and other health-related issues. She is presently the Senior Country Director at Pathfinder International, where she provides overall strategic leadership and oversees the programmatic and operational management of Pathfinder activities in Nigeria. Because of time, we will go on and on and on and on. But distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Just a quick announcement before she
really knows her onions and has more than enough experience in her field, and she's a specialist. Mrs. Eugenia Abu has actually provided some information regarding the masterclass. The executive 3 days masterclass, which is 150,000 naira, will receive a 5% discount. Members, there will also be a discount of 5% on the masterclass as well. Please take your pens out, have your phones ready, as I will read out her number. She will be leaving us within the next 1 to 2 minutes. The telephone number is 08 03 310 9820. I repeat.
How to manage the family and how to compete with the male counterpart. These are all things that have a direct relationship to wellness. Therefore, our last paper presenter will be dwelling on the topic, career women and wellness, balancing professional attainment with healthy living. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together as I introduce Dr. Amina Aminu Dorei, Senior Country Director of Pathfinder International Nigeria. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. The incoming and outgoing Chair of Association of Quantity Surveyors of Nigeria, of Women Association of Quantity Surveyors of Nigeria, and I can see how easily you call it WAQSN. I hope I've pronounced it well. Respected quantity surveyors that are here and other related professionals in the environment and building space, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm sure everyone would agree that this is the toughest assignment that I can get in public speaking. After the revered Eugenia Abu, who, to be honest, when I was in secondary school, I actually wanted to be a broadcaster because of her. But unfortunately, I looked at my strengths and weaknesses and realized that possibly that wouldn't be my strength. But I wish I could, but yes, but just to say that you have been a very huge inspiration to the people of my generation, and I think I'm not talking about myself only. Thank you for everything you do. And permit me for all the mistakes I will make today at this presentation. And I will definitely also want to come and join you to learn more about public speaking with all my colleagues. So thank you. I'll try not to take so much time because of we're already late in the day, and I know everyone is tired, but I'll do my best to keep us energized. Before I start, how many of us are online on our phones, please? How many of us are online on our phones? Because this is an exercise that I will do, and it needs people to use their phones and to be online. Please, can we have the next slide? Oh, okay, I actually have it here, so I can. So in order of importance, we're going to rank these 7 factors or elements. And the first one is clean house. Being a boss lady, because of obviously you're all women, the association that I'm actually speaking to are women. Having good health. Please, can I have some quiet? Hello? Thank you. Loving mother. How important is it for you to be a loving mother? Beautiful looking and well-dressed, and we also heard how important to be well-dressed and look beautiful. Being a great wife. And then last but not the least, being happy and stress-free. So we're going to take a poll. And bring up your phones, 5353-535379. 6 digits, 535379. How many have gone into that? Have you started? 535379. Are we there? Yes. So did you see where you're supposed to make your selection? Okay, so what I want you to do, the one that is the most important to you is the first one you select. Then you will now select them in order up to the 7th one. Do we understand? Hello? Is there any question? Pardon? No, just when you do that, then submit. Select one in the first one, that's the most important. Then the second one you select, you have to select all the 7 before you submit in order of importance to you. Am I there? In order of importance to you. If being a boss lady is the most important, that will be your number 1. After that, if your clean house is the next important, it will be number 2. That is how you select them till number 7, from the order of the most important. When you finish, you submit. How many people have started? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Somebody has started. They've only done only one. You see? Boss ladies are coming up. Please do all the 7 and then submit. Only 2 people. You see what's going on? Here and now, I'm going to know my audience. How important whatever it is to you. So let us go. You to do. We have 10. Oh, clean house is coming to the front now. You can see how it's moving as you're voting, right? So we're still in clean house as the first. But if we have 1 or 2 more people to, oh, we're 18, but we're still in clean house. You can see that boss lady was first, now it is 7th. Are we having more? If we're done, let me know. We have 20 people, we still have clean house. Good health. I'm happy that good health is number 2 up till now. Okay, I think we have 20. We can close the voting. Should we close the voting? Some people still want to vote. I'm giving 1 minute, if you don't mind, to just vote. It's most of us in the room. I'm not going to read the presentation, but I want to discuss it. Let me use the detective, for instance. My son, my last born is 11, so there was one time, he forgot that he told me some story. And when I was recounting it a week after, many of us play these roles. But what I just want to say is that each of these roles is a full-time job. Each of these roles is a full-time job, and each of them, one person, which can be a male or a female, is actually doing this role as a full-time work. But as a mother, as a wife, as a career woman, and as an individual, we are expected to be specialists in all these fields. How possible is it? I really don't know. So what is health? I know most of you, health is one of the most common things we talk about. It's the state of, they say, complete physical, social, and mental well-being, and not just the fact that you are sick. Some people think that if they are not sick, they are healthy. No. You have to be physically fit or well, socially well, and mentally well. So it's not just having the absence of disease where you say, oh, I don't feel anything, so I'm healthy. So you can see. What does physical wellness mean? So physical wellness is actually what everybody sees. If, for instance, I have a handicap, I have only one leg, or I have an issue with something physical, many people will know that I'm not well, I'm sick. So it's the most visible dimension of health, but it's just not all what health means. But physical well-being also depends on the life choices that you make, and we're going to talk about them. So what of mental well-being? So if you're not mentally stable, you will not be able to realize your full potential. Sometimes you hear people committing suicide not knowing they have some mental issues that have not been visible to other people, and they were not able to kind of say what is wrong with them. To contribute both in our families and in our years back, Hillary Clinton was very close to it. So she's one of the achievers that I'm just presenting here. We also have the Nigerian achievers here, which, for them, I'm really proud of them. Amina Muhammed, and this is Angelique Kipjo. I'm sure most of you know her. She's a musician. I hear that she's from Nigeria, but actually Benin. Yeah, she actually claims more of Benin. So I'm just trying to say that there's a lot of things that women are doing, attaining high, lengths of their profession. But what does it take? I feel trying to say balance is actually kind of a paradox. I want to present this lady, Anne-Marie's daughter. I worked with an organization called ACT Associates, and I was lucky to meet her in one of the meetings because she was a board member of ACT Associates. So Anne-Marie's daughter was a law professor, is still even a law professor actually. And between 1994 to 2002, she was at the Harvard Law School. At one time, she was dean at a very prestigious School of Public and International Affairs. She was also the director of policy planning in the United States Department of State, and that was when Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. She's a wife and a mother of two. But for those 2 years that Anne-Marie's daughter has, actually worked in that Secretary of State's office, she had to resign in 2011. Why? Because she felt that she couldn't continue. Her family was living in another state that she was commuting almost every week or 2 weeks. So at the end of her career at the Department of State, she wrote an article in the Atlantic, and this was the article. This was a 2012 article. It's called "Why Women Still Can't Have It All." And in the history of this magazine is this article that became the most read in the history of that article, imagine. And before she actually wrote it, she talked to some of her friends and they said, this is politically wrong. For you, at the level that you are, you have reached so high as a professor, as a dean, and as you have even worked at the highest level of government. How can you say this? She said, I have to write it because if I don't, nobody will. We're all lying to ourselves. I'm sorry that I'm saying this, but I just want you to look at that. The second person that I would also want to say a little bit about is Indra Nooyi. Some of you may have known her because there are a lot of videos online of Indra Nooyi. She's an Indian-American business executive and just past CEO at PepsiCo. And she has been actually listed as the 100th most influential woman in the world. You know Amazon, she's a board member of Amazon. She's also a wife and a mother of two. There's one of her very interesting clips that I always get back to, and when my husband disturbs me, I show him again that clip. What she said was that her husband has said, oh my God, it seems that your work is so important to you. It looks like when you want to kind of, stage or put in what is most, parents are third, your children are third, your parents are fourth, and then I am last. You know what she said? At least you're on the list. That actually generated a lot of, and he was in the audience at that time, but it was interesting because he is a big supporter of her, and she was just saying it as a joke, even though that actually happened. But what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that we all know what it takes to try to balance our lives, and it is not an easy one. These are people that have excelled in their lives, and they have not been able to really balance. So what she says, Indira, is that something has to suffer. If you want to be the best executive or the best professional that you can be, something will suffer a bit because all of it are full-time jobs. So I'm starting from there. So I have some key points that I think we should look at. One is that it really involves self-awareness. When we say self-awareness, I would like that after today, some of you should try to do a SWOT analysis. SWOT means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I'm sure you all know that. And for yourself as an individual, what are your strengths? What can you do well? Because if you do not sit and do an analysis of yourself, actually you're just planning to start this job as country director of Pathfinder International. As good as it sounded, I had to do a SWOT analysis. Is it actually what I want to do? Are my children, their age, are they strong enough for what I'm going to put myself into? Is my husband ready for me to be very busy? So, it's not just because something looks or feels or, it sounds nice, you should just go and do it. Make sure that you can. What are the weaknesses? And for strengths and weaknesses, they are internal to you. Yes, that is here. They are of internal origin. What are your weaknesses? What can't you do very well? Just don't think that because everybody has become, maybe because Haji Aisha is now the chairman, somebody will say, oh, me too, chairperson, I'll also go and be like her. Can you do it? As Madam Eugenia Abu said, do you have that strength? What opportunities do you have? The support lady, my mother is my very, very great supporter, and I was able to reach where I was. In fact, when I came to Abuja, the choice of primary school was any time that I'm not around, I just go and pick them. For instance, you know that just being in a situation, for instance, if I'm a medical doctor and I say I want to go and do an MBA and become a CEO somewhere, I don't know that me that have been there for so long. So you have to also recognize what the risk is. She wants to be the best agent. No, please, don't be hard on yourselves. You have to also train people. Personally, at home now, I can spend 20, weeks and weeks, and I don't think, at least as far as the people in my house are still around, everything will continue to move the way that it should move smoothly. Train people at work, in your house. You're even building capacity. Don't say that you must do everything yourself. And then communicate what matters to those that matter. What do I mean? If you have a husband, if you have children, make sure that you talk to them. Tell them what you're doing and why you're where you are, so that at least they will understand. My daughter is getting to an age where she's quite interested in being, in learning and being a woman now at 17. So she tries to always find out where I am, what I'm doing, and I keep on telling her so that I also ginger her, so at least that also helps. You cannot solve all the problems, and also differentiate between what is good to do and what you must do. There are some things that are just good to do. For instance, if I'm called to go and talk somewhere, it is good to do, is it a must do? You have to prioritize. Then customize your journey. Truly, everyone is on a different journey. You don't have to be like the next person. You are unique on your own, so you have to compare yourself with yourself. You just can learn from others, but you shouldn't compare yourself with them. So always, at every point in time, there will be people that will be telling you cannot do it. Please ignore those people. Try to do what you can do. So far, you do that SWOT analysis from the beginning to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats. No one can tell you cannot do something. So try and just be there and then maximize use of technology. Personally, I think, now we have so many apps that you can call your family members, you can even be watching them, Imo is there, WhatsApp, Skype, there are so many. So you don't have to be in a place. You can maximize technology. Emails are there. When I was sitting here, I've written so many emails, communicated with a lot of my people in the office. So you don't have to be physically somewhere. Then of course, organize your needs around yourself and your family, meaning that if you have young children, you need to organize your life around probably their schools if they're in school age. Sometimes you have to also try, for instance, during summer breaks when most of the children are back, that's when you can try to take your vacation so that you'll be with them. And then just be resilient. And what it means is that every day comes with a different opportunity. Just don't think that because of what you learned yesterday or the challenges of yesterday are the same today. They are very different. Always be optimistic. And you see, I keep on saying that there are always excuses. Sometimes when you're just going somewhere, they'll call you that, something is wrong somewhere or your child is needing you. So there will always be something that will stop you from moving forward or attaining your highest professional goals. And I say, of course, be known for excellence. I personally think that, and I think all the speakers here have said it, that you have to excel in your various chosen fields, because there's a lot of competition. Then fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. Just remove fear out of the equation. And as I said again, the top is only for a select few. How many Virginia awards do we have? Healthy living is a lifestyle. It's not something that you just start today and say, oh, today I've tried to just exercise. No. It's actually a lifestyle. And it's deliberate. And sometimes it's actually a not so pleasant process, because it's something that you would, I keep on saying that, why is it that all the food that is healthy is the one that is not nice? They will tell you, take acha, take vegetables, take smoothies that are not without sugar, you understand? So everything that is healthy may not be so pleasant, so it has to be, a deliberate step. And it's actually the simple things that we know. Exercise, take water, there's everybody talks about them, so there's nothing new under the table. But you can also know that, it's a process. You learn as you go. You don't expect when today you just start something and say, oh, I'll be doing 20 or 30 press-ups. You can start by 1, 2, or 3. So it's a journey. So what are the benefits of a healthy lifestyle? At this age, if you're above 40, and most people here probably are, it's really the critical age that you need to take a lot of care for your own self, for your health. Because if you live healthily, it means that you can, there's possibility that you'll prevent many different illnesses, diabetes, hypertension, your mood will be better, aging process will even slow, and then it controls your weight and improves activity of the brain. So there are a lot of benefits for being, taking a healthy lifestyle. On a healthy lifestyle, you may end up spending more to buy your health back. So it is better for you to say, oh, let me just buy the fruits that I wouldn't want to buy, because everybody at home doesn't want to eat it, for instance. But if you do not spend it now, you spend it to buy your health. And the most important one, another one, is also to encourage those in your circle to attain a successful career. So make sure that not only for you to learn how to balance your life and how to make, be healthy, make sure that the people around you also stay healthy, especially the women or the young girls that are working with you. So in conclusion, I think for me, balance depends on so many things. It depends on the skill. So in this case, you are the skill. How strong are you to handle all these different aspects of your life? It also depends on the items on the scale. What opportunities do you have? So that if you have, for instance, a burger on this, of course you definitely, it will weigh you down. It depends on the weight of the items. What other people are there to help you? Are you trying to do everything yourself, and that weight is too heavy for you? And then the quantity of the items also. How many things are you into? Some of us want to be business women. We have shops everywhere. We have businesses everywhere. Our own lifestyle. So my conclusion is that let's try to be a strong scale, to have the right items on the scale, and also with the right volume, and make sure that the quantity is very well. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you all believe that the 4 papers that I presented today were carefully chosen, and also from the paper of Professor Nobu, to that of Miriam Lemumu, to Eugenia Abu, and to Dr. Lori. Excellent presentation, excellent topics, and I think we are all rich. Can we give the 4 of them a louder round of applause, please? I'd also like to announce that all of our 4 speakers, WAQSN has prepared, and they are going to present plaques as token in appreciations of your time. And though I think the 2 other speakers are gone, but the 2 others are here, and they will pass in person of Mrs. Fatoki Adebukola, and we will just excuse her to just in few minutes present a goodwill message before the investiture ceremony. So can we invite the representative from the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs for her goodwill message. Councillors together. Please, can we have the lights back?
I am here to represent Honorable Minister Dame Pauline K. Talent of Federal Ministry of Men Affairs. She is unavoidably absent here today due to other official engagements. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I read. It is my pleasure to be invited as guest of honor to today's inauguration of 6th Women Association Quantity Surveyor in Nigeria. One, chairperson and an induction of newly appointed national executive members that provides women of all ages and social status with professional career development solutions and support to strengthen the role of Nigerian women in national economic development. It is fact that Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has the mandate for the economic empowerment of Nigerian women, children, and persons with disabilities, which is the most effective way of developing the nation's economy through investing on various production lines, thus playing an important role in integrating large volumes of economic activities and also creating a strategic development framework for a huge impact of developing the capacity of Nigerian women and youth for entrepreneurship and leadership in industry and management. The ministry is the central element that initiates policy guidelines to promote and also implement government policies that affect women and vulnerable groups, recognize the roles that Women Association of Quality Surveyors in Nigeria is playing to improve the ability and capacity of women in the nation's economy. I wish to comment that efforts put in place by WAQSN are better for the nation, and it is better for the nation and its economy, with emphasis that ministry will not fail to support for enhanced women in all relevant sectors, that initiate programs that will improve women in every aspect of life to achieve positive outcomes that will encourage its sustenance with a zeal to build an economically viable nation. Permit me to encourage relationship with WAQSN, with federal, state, and local governments, so as to promote local investments and stop looking for foreign investors through your professionalism and competence. Please know that the new executive need to focus on the area of unemployment, especially among women and youth, which remains one of the major economic challenges. But note that promotion of productive women and youth engagement in economic activities is the key to address the challenges. As you are aware, women's contribution to national economic development is over 70%, where most of them are rural dwellers that engage in various agricultural activities, and others are owners of small and medium industries. But ironically, their contributions to national development are seldom noticed. Women constitute about 50% of the total population, contributing in many ways to national development. However, various studies and surveys have shown that women are still in the lowest income level and are predominantly in the informal sector of the economy. For the economic development, I've executed and sensitized women on various programs like National Women Empowerment Fund, NAWE, Women Fund for Economic, to ensure that African women entrepreneurs, they were all organized to achieve grassroots women and actually and equally set policies and programs that will empower women and youth. Plan with organizers of this event for covering women and youth for professional bodies, entrepreneurship, industry, and management of economic development in Nigeria. I believe this inauguration has widened the mind of various entrepreneurs here present to pursue a more dynamic program that will be favorable to empower women in Nigeria. I thank you all for your attention. God bless Nigeria.
We need to get back to the ministry for important work that we are preparing to put into practice. When she was speaking, knowing her level and her capacity, I had been coming up, slipping bits of paper onto the podium. 5 minutes, please. 10 minutes, please. Downtime, please. And slipping a bit. But with her, I actually stood just behind one of the pillars. And she immediately got the message and she nodded. What was I telling her? 5 minutes. I don't know whether it was because of the glaring light. The last speaker, I attempted to do the same thing. And she continued. And she continued. I don't know whether she thought maybe I was waving or making moves towards her. But we are grateful for her coming. And I know that we have been empowered. Were you empowered?
Very.
That's wonderful, wonderful. Give him a round of applause, please. My co-anchor. Page 13, we will see that it is part 2, the investiture, and we would humbly ask those who came down from the high table to please, can you return, because we would like to begin part 2, and it is very important that we actually have you seated here on the high table. Thank you very much.
Okay, to actually do this, I think this is the right time, because as we were trying to start that, the president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, in person of QS Muhammed just walked into the hall. Please can we give him a round of applause? Welcome QS Muhammed to the high table. Please, we will do better. Please share them. This will actually get into the high point of the event, and there's a lot of contribution that is required. Yes. Let us also invite to the high table the President of the Quantity Surveying Registration Board of Nigeria, a past President of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, and also the Impact and welcome to Muhammed Ali. The Deputy President, who since the morning has been standing in for the President, in person of QS. Okay, QS Olayomi Shonebu FNI QS. Please come up and hands together for the Deputy President.
QS Runke Oyelami, FNI QS, come to the high table. She is the past outgoing, I can use that word, outgoing, not completely gone, but gone, chairperson of WAQSN. Can we give her a round of applause, please?
Who is the Nigerian Rural Access and Mobility Project. The first female professor of conservation in Africa, and also a past chairperson of Babalola Kampura has together for her. Sixth chairperson of WAQSN, a person of QS Aishatu, Muhammed, MNIK, and her amiable husband, please.
That is wonderful. You heard the song that was just played. It was personalized, customized. This will be very unusual for our incoming chairperson. Can we give the high table a round of applause, please? With the eminent dignitaries who are present here, we shall move on to the program and keep the momentum going.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it has been said that when you are humble and full of humility, you can cook a stool and actually drink from it. Quietly in this hall, we have a very, very, very august guest. Right in this hall, coming to grace occasion. This occasion is a university don and a diplomat. In the morning, Hajjali said that she have never met a diplomat that has ever been late, not knowing that in the late afternoon we are going to have one. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, within our midst is the former Director General of Nigerian Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, a former Vice Chancellor of University Usman Dan Fodio University Sokoto, and currently the President of the United Nations in person of Professor Tijani Bendika.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. Hopefully, the United Nations, I'm more than willing to serve my country, to be an ambassador. You're welcome, sir. So, we are now ready. We have come here to be a part of history as it's going to be made for all posterity. I'm going to start with the citation of the incoming chairperson, who is going to be read by Dr. Claudry. I apologize. Is Dr. Claudry here? Please, can you give a round of applause?
And at this point, we will urge the celebrant to remain on her feet as her citation is being read. Okay.
Please come forward, my chairperson.
This chairperson of the Women Association of Country SURVEYORS in Nigeria, Aishatu, Muhammed. Resilient, resourceful, and remarkable. It is a consensus among leadership experts and authorities that human greatness comprises of three categories. The first are those that were born great, the second are those who attained greatness, while the third category are those who were born great and worked assiduously to attain further greatness. The personality and the story of QS Aishatu Muhammed can best be described to fit into the third category. All right. QS Aishatu was born into a famous family of scholars and religious leaders in Mina, the capital of Niger. Her father, Malam Shuaibu Musa, is an educationist, renowned for training and molding a number of distinguished, my apologies. Her father, Malam Shuaibu Musa, is an educationist, renowned for training and molding a number of distinguished and outstanding personalities within Mina and its environs. Coming from this solid background, young Aisha was enrolled into both the Islamic formal school system at a very tender age. She was admitted into Madaki Primary School, Mina, for her primary education, and it was in this school that she began to exhibit her leadership and effective team-building qualities. She also excelled academically in her studies, which made the school authorities to select her as a head girl while in class 5, as opposed to the tradition of only selecting class 6 pupils to that exalted position. The brilliance and intelligence which characterized her early years earned her an early completion of primary school as she was selected to sit for the common entrance examination whilst in primary 5. She passed the examination with flying colors and was admitted to a new Center of Excellence for the Girl-Child Education, the Government Girls Junior Secondary School, Shiruru. In her usual streak, she maintained her excellence in her studies and sports while displaying her leadership traits, which culminated into her being selected once again as the pioneering head girl of the school for the 3 years of studies there. Upon her successful completion of junior school, she was granted admission into the prestigious Mariam Babangida Girls Science College, Minna, where she passed out with distinction following her outstanding feat in the senior school certificate examination. Because a golden fish has no hiding place, Aisha was immediately spotted and was variously a class captain, house prefect, president of Muslim Student Society, and eventually head girl of the school. Hajia Aishatu Muhammed proceeded to the famous Federal University of Technology, Minna, and graduated with a Bachelor's of Technology degree in Quantity Surveying in 1996. She was the CAP aide with a Master of Technology in Environmental Development Planning from the same institution in 2007. Her quest for both academic and professional excellence propelled her to attend many and diverse trainings, workshops, courses, and seminars here in Nigeria and overseas. Some of her achievements include a certificate in quantity surveying and construction course from the London Refurbishment Company, a company under the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, and a certificate in computing from the Digital Bridge Institute, an ICT-based outfit affiliated to Avi Hall here in Abuja. Hajia Aishatu is also a pioneer member of the Quantity Surveying Academy, where she obtained a diploma certificate in construction arbitration. QS Aishatu has had a distinguished and exemplary working career, which kicked off immediately after her university degree through the one-year mandatory National Youth Service Corps with the Niger State Minister of Works in 1997. While there, she worked so hard and was a visible team player, which earned her automatic employment after the service with the ministry. In search for newer and higher challenges, she transferred her service to the Fiscal Planning and Development Unit of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, where she is currently the Chief Quantity Surveyor. Professionally, QS Aishatu broke all barriers and relentlessly worked herself up the ladder, which has led to this investiture today. She is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Quantity Surveyors Association Board of Nigeria, and the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria. As a chartered and registered quantity surveyor, she has been active in the Institute's professional activities. She was variously a treasurer and financial secretary in the Niger State chapter of the NIQS. In 2004, she was elected Pioneer Zonal Coordinator for the Northwest for WAQSN, National Financial Secretary, and until recently, Deputy Chairperson of WAQSN. Hajia Aishatu is a humanitarian, philanthropist, motivator, mentor, and mother whose milk of kindness knows no boundaries. She carries everyone along without discrimination. She is passionate, very, very passionate about women development and emancipation, particularly encouraging women to excel in the construction industry regardless of their circumstances. She is also a mentor to many younger quantity surveying colleagues, as well as other women professionals within and outside the construction industry. She is also passionate about women education, as she also donates generously to orphans and to widows, and supports empowerment projects for young persons within her immediate environment. Hajia Aishatu Muhammed is happily married to Alhaji Ya'u Abdullah, a retired customs officer who is here present with us. And the woman is blessed with 2 children. Hajia is also blessed with 4 siblings among a plethora of extended family members, many of whom are in the audience, and loyal friends and colleagues. Her hobbies include gardening and animal husbandry. The summary of Aishatu's life can best be described in the following popular saying: she came, she saw, she conquered. Congratulations Congratulations on yet another worthy and landmark achievement and recognition as we witness your investiture as the chairperson of Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to present to you Aishatu, Muhammed.
Thank you for that. Please remain standing. Our incoming as we continue with the ceremony of the investiture of your good self now. How are you feeling?
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Fine, thank you.
I will now call on the past chairperson. Yes. It will be done by our president. Mr. President, I humbly call on you, Mr. President, NIQS, Mr. Abutor, to please come and do the honors. Please come in closely, please. For West 123, the Treasurer, National Secretary, Assistant Secretary, Social Secretary, Financial Secretary, Publicity Secretary, which is my good self, and also the Secretary for Research and Development. These are the outgoing escorts. Please, if you have your cameras ready.
Have you finished? Yeah. Let me decorate myself.
So, ladies, we're standing on existing protocol, the members of the high table, my distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the team that served WAQSN between 2017 and 2019. We are all standing before you, including her, and to my team, I want to thank every one of you once again for a good job. We were all part of the success of that tenure. I really do appreciate every single one of you. The cooperation you afforded me, I'm asking those of you who will continue in the executive, will equally afford the same cooperation to the person I'm about to decorate, that is my successor in office, who is Aishatu, Muhammed. So my dear sisters, thank you very much. God continue to bless all our efforts. Amen. And take WAQSN to even greater heights. We've been strong, but I know we are still WAQSN stronger. God bless you all.
Amen. Thank you for thanking us. Thank you for thanking me as the outgoing participant
of the Institute. Kindly come and witness the decoration. Pardon me. I mean, they have to take this thing off again. They say I should wait a few more minutes. All right then, I will do so. Mr. President, sir. Come and proceed with the honors.
The steps are like this. First of all, we need to administer the vote to her. Decorate her. That will not empower her. Administer the same before the other activities. These are the first steps.
Yes, sir.
I,
I.
Okay. If I say I, mention your name. I.
Aishatu Muhammed,
the chairperson of the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors.
as chairperson of the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors,
Do solemnly swear and affirm as follows.
do solemnly swear and affirm as follows.
I will discharge my duties and perform my obligations.
I will discharge my duties and perform my obligations.
And functions honestly to the best of my ability.
And function honestly to the best of my ability.
And faithfully.
And faithfully.
In accordance with the Constitution.
In accordance with the Constitution.
Code of conduct.
Code of conduct.
And ethics.
And ethics.
Of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors.
Of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors.
And bylaws of the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria.
And the bylaws of Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria.
I will obey.
I will obey
the rules and regulations.
The rules and regulations
of the association.
Of the association.
That I will strive to preserve.
That I will strive to preserve.
The fundamental objectives.
The fundamental objectives.
Contained in the Constitution.
Contained in the Constitution.
And bylaws.
And bylaws.
Of the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria.
Of the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria.
That I will not allow my personal interests.
That I will not allow my personal interests.
To influence my official conduct.
To influence my official conduct.
Or my official decisions.
Or my official decisions.
When called to any duty.
When called to any duty.
That I will abide by the ethics.
That I will abide by the ethics.
And professional code of conduct.
And professional code of conduct.
Of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors.
Of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors.
I will.
Give
my honorable colleagues.
Give my honorable colleagues.
And seniors.
And seniors.
Due respect.
Due respect.
And gratitude.
And gratitude.
I make these promises solemnly.
I make these promises solemnly.
Freely.
Freely.
Upon my honor.
And upon my honor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I hope you got that picture. That's momentous.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Put hand on. Yeah.
The baton is being passed, not from the old to the new, but as we say, it is a continuance of good governance for our women quantity surveyors in Nigeria. It is a momentous occasion for the chairperson, and I can officially call her the chairperson, the state chairperson of WAQSN. The immediate past chairperson, who is about to be decorated for her magnificent service by our very own past president, NIGERIan, the female of NIGERIAN, Mercy, Ethiopia, FNIQS is actually awaiting. Thank you very much. It's a great honor for me at this very moment to decorate our outgone chairperson of WAQSN, and I am very excited to welcome her to the club of past this, past that.
The video, ma. Yes, ma.
First lady.
Yeah. No, Hold it, that's it. Hold it, ma. Just hold it. Hold it. Yeah.
The
okay,
decoration.
Yeah. Okay.
You no need of.
Okay.
As if you are decorating.
So that we can see the hair.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
So you are welcome.
As they say. Can we give a round of applause, please? The immediate past chairperson of WAQSN, the 5th chairperson, has finished her successful tenure and is handing the baton over.
Yes, ma'am.
She's bowing out. Not pulling out, but she's bowing out, but not bowed over, because we shall still be calling on you, and we know that we will receive continuous support from you for all our activities. Can we give our past president, QS Mercy, a round of applause, FNIQS, and perform that? Yes. MNIQS is about to perform her first duty as the WAQSN chairperson, which will be the swearing in 19-2021 WAQSN committee members. We would like to call on our matron and patrons to please come and take pictures. You can please come down on the high table. Thank you. Yes. What a wonderful setting. Beautiful. And NIGERIAN president, Bashir, to please join of Deputy President. And if we have other executive members,
Madam, your
the President of NIGERIAN, Muhammed, the President of SURVEYORS, Murtala Aliyu, FNIQS, President of the UN Assembly, Professor Tijani Bande, past Presidents of NIQS, QS Mercy Yote, Deputy President of NIQS, QS Olayemi Shonubi, other past chairpersons of WAQSN, distinguished guests, family members, ladies and gentlemen. Today represents a major and remarkable history of my life, and it is with great sense of responsibility and fulfillment that I stand before you to present this inaugural speech as the 6th chairperson of Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria. This is happening on the occasion of my investiture and inauguration of the Executive Committee of WAQSN, whose tenure will terminate in the year 2021, inshallah. I am indeed most thankful, full of praise and adoration to the Almighty Allah for granting me the opportunity to serve my noble profession in this capacity. The Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria was inaugurated on the 25th of November 2004 at the biennial conference held in Ibadan by our parent body, the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. Before providing you a peek of what lies ahead of us during our tenure, let me acknowledge the efforts of our founding fathers and past chairpersons for their vision, wisdom, and outstanding representation of our profession since its inception. Thank you for your leadership and guidance. I look forward to receiving your advice and counseling during my tenure as we collectively work to achieve greatness. Being the 6th chairperson of Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria is a great challenge, which I'm ready to confront with your support. As we officially commence another chapter of our journey with the inauguration of this administration, I urge you to all come together and chart a new course for our profession. There is this African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. The Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria, under my leadership, intends to key into the current NIGERIAN President's rebranding agenda to chart a new course for the female quantity surveyors. Given the dynamic nature of our environment and its attendant challenges, WAQSN is prepared to take the advantage of the rebranding opportunities in this regard. Our major goal in the next 2 years is to enhance our profession, strengthen women quantity surveyors towards achieving excellence, professional excellence. We intend to take WAQSN to the new heights and to fulfill our vision of a leading globally recognized professional quantity surveying body that provides value for money for its clients and members. The theme for the workshop, Investiture, and inauguration of the executive members 2019-2021 is empowerment and career development amongst professional women in Nigeria. This theme is apt, as professional women have the task of keeping and maintaining suitable home for a happy family and operating as full-time career professionals. The professional woman who now wears several caps has the daunting task of maintaining balance on several fronts. Though most women have distinguished and acquitted themselves excellently and creditably by being able to build their chosen careers without sacrificing their urgently addressed. It is my hope that the ensued discussions and presentation have provided us with effective ways of addressing these challenges, even as I salute and appreciate the courage, resilience, and determination of professional women for weathering the storm so far. Women are major stakeholders in the development of any society. Globally, the issue of women marginalization and low participation in leadership and decision-making have been attracting a lot of attention from scholars. There is a general feeling that despite the Beijing Declaration of 1995, many organizations are still gender insensitive. Laws and customs make it much harder for women to assess the factors of production, obtain education, train themselves, access information, good health care, and stand independently in public arena. Today, there is no doubt that significant progress has been achieved. Women have been moving steadily into professions and managerial jobs previously reserved for men. The construction industry, which was formerly dominated by men, is now paving ways for women to excel. Examples of such men include the past president of NIGERIAN, who also happens to be the first chairperson of Women Association of Quantity Surveyors, Mrs. Macy Iote. Welcome. Professor Olubola Babalola, the first female professor of quantity surveying in the whole of Africa, and Dean, Faculty of Environmental Design and Management of Afeni Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. There are so many of them who are excelling in the construction industry. During my tenure, we intend to pursue vigorously the following goals. Encourage our members towards career development, capacity building, and acquisition of relevant qualifications that will enhance their job delivery through counseling, offering assistance where necessary. Create an atmosphere of synergy and respect for diverse views from all female quantity surveyors as a key for successful development of all women in the profession. Improve the competencies and skills of our members through seminars, workshops, continue professional development programs towards promotion of standard best practices. Assist our members with job placements, gaining access to external resources and opportunities through mentorship programs. Reward academic excellence in our higher institutions of learning and also in NIQS professional examinations. Collaborate with other sister professional bodies to trigger sustained efforts towards building a good and harmonious working relationship. These include female-based professional associations like the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Nigerian Society of Women Journalists, NAWATCH, and other sister professional bodies in the built environment. To achieve these objectives, we shall, among other measures, take a lead role in ensuring standards and regulations of factors of safety in the construction industry and be a vital commentator and reliable source of trusted information for our profession. At this point, I wish to acknowledge the efforts of our pioneer female quantity surveyors and other professional bodies in the built environment for coming together to form what we know today as the Women in Built Environment, WIVEN. I salute your courage and resilience in taking our profession to greater heights. Particularly, I would like to appreciate my immediate past WAQSN chairperson, QS Aderoke Oyelami, FNIQS, our past president of NIQS, QS Mercy Yote, QS Adekemi Okusaga, Professor Olubola Babalola, and Dr. Gloria Ene. Mr. President, members of the National Executive Council, members of the Board of Trustees, President of the QSRPA, past President of the Institute, Fellows of the Institute's distinguished guests, professional colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me, on behalf of the newly inaugurated WAQSN executive members, end this address by appreciating and showing our gratitude to our chief host, the President of the NIQS, QS Muhammed FNIQS, and the National Executive Council members for their untiring support. Our gratitude goes to the chairman of the occasion, the Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Technology, ably represented by Professor Ari Olabuju, Professor of Architecture, and Dean School of Environmental Technology. To our distinguished special guest of honor and life-grand patron of WAQSN, QS Olusegun Ajale Kogo, FNIQS, we say a big thank you for always identifying with us. Special recognition goes to our guest of honor, our special guest of honor, Hajia Binta Mamman, the only chairman, House Committee of Women Affairs in Niger State House of Assembly. QS Etu Hassan Baba, coordinator RAM Niger State. We also acknowledge the support of our patrons, QS Messi T. Yote, QS Murtala Aliyu, QS Yetunde Simplis, and QS Alamo George. We appreciate all the resource persons, our sponsors and donors for making this ceremony remarkable. Members of the organizing committee, led by my able and amiable deputy chairperson, QS Priscilla Akamudike, have performed wonderfully well by packaging this event. I would like to affectionately acknowledge the invaluable role played by my family, especially my darling husband, who is very dear to my heart, to my children, sisters, friends, and colleagues who are part of this success story. Thank you for the sacrifice you made for my cause. May Allah reward you. I love and cherish you. Bless you and grant you all journey mercies back to your respective destinations. Long live Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria. Long live Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Distinguished members of WAQSN, and of course my other colleagues who are here to support. Let me start by telling you my feelings that I'm sure Hajia will give. Hello? You know, I like to keep my audience quiet. I am sure Aishatu will be here. And the small interaction between the vigil and today, phone calls and the cries and the knocks I had from her and Hawa, she gave me an indication that, well, she's up to the task and she'll do well. And I think we will all need to support her. She happened to be working in an institution that I so cherish. I didn't go through FMT, but I was the pioneer staff of the Works Department. That was not too long ago, between 1984 and 1986. That's why I worked. So, and that she's there now as a principal, and the whole university is coming here to celebrate her. She's doing very well. So, I'm sure we expect much from you, and that's a big welcome. But I have the support of awareness, we're fine. Now, as to the ladies, you see, WAQSN is WAQSN stronger, and everybody now knows that WAQSN has come of age. I think that we need to be more serious than we are. We are serious enough, I can tell you. My friend Ambassador Wande that I came with said he was impressed at the gathering and the quality gathering. But I think when the chairperson said she is benchmarking against internationally recognized organizations like FIDA and so on, it means we have to put up a lot more than we are putting up today. So I'm a patron among other patrons, and I can assure you that we will continue to do our best to ensure that half of humanity contributes as much as half. So I sincerely thank you all, and I wish you luck.
Can we give the president of USIB another round of applause? And I think you should be happy that you are getting such a high level endorsement and support. Because when the regulatory authorities say they are going to support, I think they are going to support. So we are introducing the next Google message, which is coming from the pioneering chairperson of WAQSN and a past president of Nigerian Institute of SURVEYORS, person of QS, Messi, Yote, PPNIPS, FNIPS.
Thank you very much. President of the Nigerian SURVEYORS, Muhammed, and the Deputy President, wonderful friends. I've known them as friends for quite some time. They seem to be very close. The chairperson of WAQSN and my amiable husband, our friend from Niger State, chairman here present, distinguished colleagues of mine, the special guests from Niger State, including students. I think Aishatu has been a grassroots mobilizer work. This all in the field of education. I want to start by thanking Almighty God, and I'm very excited because as the pioneer chairperson, I have seen WAQSN grow from 2004 when we started, from about maybe 3% of women to now over getting to 50% of women membership, and for maybe 2-3 firms that had women as their managing partners, now having about 40 firms that have women as principals or managing partners. So we give glory to God because WAQSN has been growing from strength to strength. I want to appreciate Mr. President of the NIGERIAN for his support, and all past presidents of the NIGERIAN for always supporting WAQSN. At this juncture, I also want to appreciate our outcome and all of our members who participated in the growth of this association. The theme of this development and personal development, because we're developing ourselves. And we know that career development as well. And it helps us to sustain to our clients so that when we excel, then we're empowered. And the organizers for beautiful business tilting. It will not tilt off the scale, but that we still have a little bit of balance. So on this note, I want to thank everybody that's here, and to also wish WAQSN more success going forward. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you everybody for bearing with us. We would like to ask very quickly those who have come from the Chairperson's University, Mina, those people that have come from the Chairperson's University, Mina only, please go to the back. You have a long, arduous journey home. Please go to the back serving point for your food. Only those that have come from Mina, because the road is long and the journey is long, I've been told. So, and you need to start making your way. Only those of some plaques and also awards, which are going to be given out. So I'm going to hand over to my co-anchor. Thank you, Abu.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, having come thus far, I think it is only natural that we appreciate those who have contributed to making today very, very memorable. All the four papers that were presented were all awesome, they were timely, and I think we want to enjoy them. And so we know that a lot of work has gone into them. Also, WAQSN has decided to appreciate the speakers. May I, at this juncture, invite the chairperson of WAQSN. Chairperson, please can you come and assist the presenters of these plaques to our speakers? I will promise together for the 6th chairperson of WAQSN. The first plaque is going to be presented to the first speaker, Professor Muhammed of the Federal University of Technology, who took the first paper. When he is gone, the plaque is going to be taken on his behalf by QS Hassan Baba, the Niger State Coordinator of RAM. And may we invite QS Muhammed to come and hand over the plaque to the speaker. Please come hands together for.
On behalf of the Nigerian Quality Surveyors, women
Hello.
On behalf of Women Association of Quality Surveyors in Nigeria WAQSN, it gives me honor and pleasure to appreciate this talk of indication of our position to Professor Muhammed for the wonderful paper he presented on the theme Empowerment and Career Development amongst Professional Women in Nigeria. So the paper is not only useful and valuable to women, but to all of us. We are looking for a true paper for us to follow it line by line in order to enrich our efforts in developing our career forward. Well designed, a topical, and then accurate arguments based on facts and data we have for granted. That, we now want to see
Going together.
Thank you so much. The President of the is going to our second speaker, the person of Hajia Mariam Bemu. But she's not available absent. So we are calling on QS Ashia Alpha to come and collect the plaque on her behalf. And to do the presentation, can we invite QS Mercy Yote, the Nigerian chairperson of WAQSN? Can we put our hands together as this presentation is going on?
Thank you very much. It was a beautiful presentation on the challenges that women face, especially professional women. And I'm sure everyone found it very enriching. So on behalf of the Women Association of Women Surveyors in Nigeria, it is my honor to present an appreciation of the paper presented on challenges and prospects of professional women in Nigeria at this conference. To Hajia Mariam Bemu, please extend our gratitude.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Thank you so much. The next presentation is going to Mrs. Eugenia Abu, who did an excellent presentation in the art of public speaking. Let me invite QS Mercy Yote to come and receive the award on her behalf, which is going to be presented by the Deputy President of the Nigerian Institute of Surveyors in person of QS Aishatu. Can we hands together as he stepped down to present this award?
It's unfortunate that Mrs. Eugenia had to leave because of some other commitments. But I believe I'll be speaking the minds of everybody here who was present when she was delivering the paper. That it was quite insightful and eye-opener for each and every one of us on the art of public speaking, on how to dress very well, on public mannerism. I think we also particularly want to appreciate her for our offer of sponsorship and discounts for those that can attend our programs. The scholarship as well as the discounts both are open to those who were present during the lecture, and I'm sure we all took down our numbers, and I think it will do us a lot of good if we can attend the program. So on behalf of the Women Association of Women Surveyors in Nigeria, I present this award to Mrs. Eugenia Abu. Our excellent paper at the one-day seminar and the Investiture of the 6th WAQSN chairperson, QS Aishatu. With the theme Empowerment and Career Development among Professional Women in Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, the mic. You can collect the mic. Okay, move closer.
Thank you so much. Before we invite the last speaker, the organizers have asked me to inform our very, very distinguished invited guests that for their lunch, they are having their lunch upstairs, and that it will be very memorable for them, and also to stay behind to take this sumptuous lunch that have been reserved for Thank you so much. Last but not the least, let me, the presentation is for Dr. Amina Aminu-Noreyi, the Nigerian representative of Pathfinder International. And to collect the award on her behalf, let's invite another medical doctor, Dr. Hassan Muhammed. And the award is going to be presented by the immediate past chairperson of WAQSN, QS Aderonke Oyelami, FNIQS.
Madam Dr. Amina Noreyi, on behalf of the chairperson of the Women's Association of Quantity Surveyors and the entire membership of WAQSN, and then the body at large, that is the president of the NIGERIAN, make this presentation to you on behalf of all of us for the very excellent paper you presented to us earlier on, encouraging and advising us over the general awareness of our bodies. Thank you very much. You are really appreciative of the information you provided us, what will help us to apply these in our day-to-day lives. Thank you very much, Madam. God bless you.
I will appreciate this presentation, please.
Look at us. Yes, okay.
Okay, we still have some presentation to distinguished students who perform excellently at two institutions graduating with first class and upper credit. The WAQSN is presenting to them BSMM and also a token for doing so excellent in their academic, in their schools. The first presentation is going to a first class graduate of quantity surveying from the Federal University of Technology, Mina, finishing with a CPTA of 4.52. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together as we invite Blessing Pressy Indamani, first class graduate, 4.52, Federal University of Technology, Mina. Okay, she's here with her amiable mom.
Quantity surveyors in Nigeria. We want to congratulate you for this laudable achievement, passing out from graduating with first class from Federal University of Technology with distinction, I would say, because it is not easy to graduate with 4.52. Congratulations, Press.
Okay, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Recognitions for her. So undisclosed or so much many cameras together. Okay, from WAQSN 10,000 and from the anonymous donor 50,000 naira. And another 10,000 naira. And another, and I think Blessing, I'll meet you up there next so that we can have some. Let me take my share. Yes, that is what you do when you do so well. And the next recipient Finished with an upper credit from the Auchi Polytechnic Edo State with a CGPA of 3.73. Distinction. Okay, sorry. Okay, 3.73. Okay, it's a polytechnic. I think the maximum is 4.0. So out of 4 points, she got 3.73. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Betty Omwadoni, our recipient, please. Please, can we put our hands together for her? Okay, she's not here. Okay, the coordinator from that side is here. So, okay, we'll take the award on her behalf. Looking for in appreciation of that feat. Okay, from anonymous president. By all standards, this has been a very, very successful outing. But to say it officially, let me invite the deputy chairperson to come and present the vote of thanks. May we put our hands together for the deputy chairperson of WAQSN.
SURVEYORS, the National Executive Council, past president of NIGERIAN and SURVEYORS, WAQSN Life Grand Patron, patrons and patronettes, past WAQSN chairpersons, the chairman of this occasion, our resource persons, members of Young Quantity Surveyors Forum, other professional bodies, representatives from the Ministry of Women Affairs, friends of the association, our most valued invited guests, distinguished women, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, I want to give honor to God Almighty for the life He has bestowed on us to witness another investiture ceremony. On behalf of the Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria, I deem it a great honor to extend the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this seminar and investiture ceremony a resounding success. It is the honor of WAQSN Executive Committee and her members to welcome you all to the investiture of the 6th WAQSN chairperson, Aishatu Muhammed, and the induction of WAQSN Executive Committee for 2019-2021 tenure. We appreciate you for the time spent to be here for WAQSN. Events like this cannot happen overnight. The wheel starts rolling months ahead. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. This event would have been successful without the volunteers in the organizing committee who worked tirelessly to put this workshop together. I say thank you. Our chief host, President, Nigerian Surveyors, Muhammed, thank you for your energy support to WAQSN. The President, SURVEYORS, Tala Ali, PPNIGS, and WAQSN patron, we appreciate your presence. Our special guest of honor and WAQSN Life Grand Patron, Joseph Olusegun Ajaniru, PPNIGS, and President Castle and other patrons, thank you for being our backbone. The Chairman, Professor Abdullahi Bala, Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Mina, Niger State, ably represented by Professor R.B. Olaluju, we appreciate the honor and recognition accorded to WAQSN to chair this occasion. All past presidents of the Nigerian Quantity Surveyors and Quantity Surveyors Regulation Board of Nigeria, we appreciate your presence. We especially thank all our resource persons who have all done very well to share and enrich us with their valuable knowledge and experience. Their time, energy, and resources spent will never go unrewarded. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by our own motivated and dedicated past chairpersons who are resource-oriented. Here's Mercy Yotem, Diana Kios, here's Adekari Okusaga, here's Gloria Ene, here's Professor Olubola Babalala, here's Adere Oyelamu. We appreciate you all for your advice and support. You have left a good legacy for us to follow. By the grace of God, we will surely succeed. To all
have empowered you to go forth and make a difference to our world. To all our donors, your financial support are well appreciated. Your sponsorships have in no small measure contributed to the success of this workshop. We pray to God to replenish your pulse exceedingly. Our mission is to stimulate women towards achieving professional excellence in their choosing careers, and this workshop has proven it with the wealth of knowledge that has been imparted on us today. As we return to our various destinations, we bring God to grant us study lessons back. Thank you, and God bless us.
The United States Coordinator Forum is also giving 50,000 naira. 50,000 naira. Can you step out and come and collect it? It's ready.
If you don't step out enough, I will collect
Look at the lady handing over as if it is for you. Let me also put my hand.
stroke dinner. I would like to just announce to the city the earlier scholarships that were offered by Mrs. Eugenia Abu from the Media Center. We have 2 scholarships, and what we would like you to do is to please, if you look at the back of the brochure, you will see our WAQSN email. You will see our WAQSN email. The one for the head office, the first email, WAQSNNIG@gmail.com.
Gradually doing the cuttings, but not after I will repeat this announcement that our guest lunch is upstairs, and the treasurer of WAQSN, Chris Hawa, will lead you to where the lunch is served. And for the rest of us, we have enough here to eat. Please, if you are Buddha-based, can you come home now and say they should cancel dinner for you because dinner is served here. So, can we all stand up as we recite the second stanza? Then we can now complete by reciting the national anthem. For the closing prayer, we're reciting the second stanza. Then we end up with the national anthem. So let's start. O God of creation, direct our noble thoughts, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love honesty to grow, and living to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Can we now sing the national anthem?
We appreciate your presence today. My name is the QS Annette and who has been helping me. Please, can we ask the VIPs and the families to go upstairs? Everybody else, please at the back and at the side, sharing point. Thank you for being and bless you to pray. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
chairperson for the WAQSN, and your achievement. What are you going to achieve? What are your dreams and goals?
Thank you. I'm highly honored for seeing such a wonderful crowd that I never expected to see, just to honor me today and to celebrate with me as the 6th chairperson of Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria. Well, my main aim and goal is to see to the development of women quantity surveyors in the profession. I want women to grow. I want to see them practicing their profession the way it is supposed to be. They should not just study quantity surveying and then go back home and stay and say no job for them. Let them be seen in the construction industry practicing their profession. That is what I want to see from the women. I want to work with them, to synergize with them, and then work in harmony in order to build our profession to greater heights. Thank you.
So apart from that, what impact do you think the woman should be taking in Nigeria development, in national development?
She should be seen to be seen as a role model to other women while performing her duties as a professional woman. Let her be seen performing her duties as a professional woman. Let her, move from level to level in her career so that she will achieve greatness. We want a day that we will see a woman being the president of Nigeria. We've seen it in other countries. Let it also happen in our country, Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.